Oh, peace, peace, y'all, peace. The fake Tommy. What are you talking about? Peace, beloved. What's going on, y'all? Let's get the knowledge. Oh man, I appreciate you. Soup, soup, bro. What do you mean soup? What do you mean soup? Peace to y'all. Peace, peace, peace to everybody. What up? What up? What up? Oh, sup. Oh yeah. I don't, I don't know why I'm tripping. I thought it said soup. You right. Sup. Oh, well, you did put a O. What up? Peace, y'all. Peace. Hold on. Let me hook this microphone up. Sound real better when I use the mic. Give me 1 second, y'all. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm trying to be more consistent. Oh man, I appreciate it. I appreciate the gift. Thank you. I appreciate the gift. I appreciate the gift, y'all. Southside Queens in the building. Okay. I got family on the Coliseum Avenues over there on the Coliseum Avenue. Salute. Like, share the channel. Like, share the channel, y'all. Like, share the channel. Push me out in the algorithm. I think the more likes and shares you get, push you out in the algorithm. Let me get some likes, y'all. Push me out in the algorithm, man. Let's get it popping over here. Yeah, Jamaica Ave, man. What's up? So yeah, a lot of people been questioning me, asking me basically like why, I've been on the spiritual, I've been, talking a lot about spirituality. I kind of got away from the street stuff. So I've been putting a little more street stuff up there. Or they closed the Coliseum block. Oh, all right. I've been putting a lot of more street stuff up here, and people been questioning, like, why I'm putting more street stuff in there and why I'm going leaning in that direction. But reason being is, basically I'm from the streets. You know what I'm saying? And you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. You know what I'm saying? So if the street stuff is considered the honey, if that's what people want to hear, then I'll get more people in there. And at the same time, I'm still gonna. Oh, I appreciate you, beloved. Thank you, thank you. I'm still gonna put the street stuff in there and still, be able to feed the streets with right knowledge and spirituality and let the brothers and sisters know what's going on out there in the streets. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm leaning more towards that way. And I put up a few older videos from when I first got on YouTube, when I did sat down with Harlem Legend, when I sat down with 050 The Movement and Kai Reality. Those are the three brothers that I sat down with. They the ones who pushed me in the internet and got me, kind of popping on the internet. So I reposted those videos to my channel just so people can have a history where I'm coming from. You know what I mean? If they see just all the spiritual stuff, then they won't know who I am and not who I was and where I come from. So I reposted a lot of the street stuff onto my channel. I got a couple more that I'm gonna repost. So when people get to know my channel, they could always look back and say, okay, this is where this dude came from. This is his history. Because I do that too sometimes. When I see people on YouTube or TikTok, I go all the way to the bottom to see, more of who they were before they started popping, so to speak, right? So I just remixed a lot of those videos and pushed them to my page so people could see basically how I got my start on YouTube. And I got my start on YouTube talking about street stuff. You know what I mean? I was around a lot of street people, rappers, famous rappers, and a lot of gangsters, with big street names. And that's kind of what got me popping on here. So I'm gonna mix it in there. I'm gonna mix it in there. I appreciate you too, beloved. Thank you. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for the gifts. FBA, I appreciate you. Where you from? I'm from the Bronx. I'm from the Bronx. I'm from Weeks Avenue. You know what I'm saying? I be from my family in the Soundview section, so I be in the South Bronx, but I'm from Weeks Avenue, which is the east side of the Bronx, right there at the mouth of the West Side. But I'm the Bronx. I'll be all over the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm from. So yeah, that's why I put a lot of the old videos up there and stuff. I'm gonna push out the other Jack Frost video, the John Cuff video. I'm gonna push that out. It's like 40 minutes of it. They won't accept everything. Oh, thank you. You love my accent. I ain't even know I had one of those. I ain't even know I had one of those. But yeah, know what I mean? So I'm gonna pump out the rest of that, the Jack Frost joint, because everybody been asking about it. So the shit type. What you mean the shit type? We got one, bro. We from New York City. Oh nah, yeah. Nah, people be saying that we got accents, but I guess when you from somewhere else, you always gonna sound like you got an accent. But I think our females, it's like that everywhere. The females have a deeper accent. So the New York females, they got the real accent. That's like anywhere though, anywhere you from. Like when I know females from Baltimore, they have a super Baltimore accent. Females from Philly, California, down south, the women always got the accent more than the males do. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes when I hear New York females, I can hear it worse than my own accent. Parkchester in the building. Okay, Parkchester. I used to live in Parkchester. I used to live over there. You know what I mean? So that's what we doing, y'all. I'm a double back on the Frost story. I still got the Weeks Avenue documentary coming out that I'm gonna put together. I'm still waiting for a bunch of pictures and anticipation from the neighborhood. You know, due to my situation, I ain't got a lot of support. I ain't got a lot of support from the neighborhood. So, you know, certain individuals been helping me, sending me pictures, but they be here though. Believe it or not, they be here. When we got 100 people in here, I don't care if we got 20 people in here. There's gonna be like 5 or 6 solid people that's watching from the neighborhood, people from my old lifestyle and the things that I used to do. They're gonna sit in here and they're gonna watch me. You know what I mean? Regardless of what. So they gonna get this work. They gonna be sitting around waiting for me to talk about a bunch of killings and murders and gangster shit. And then at the end of the day, they gonna get the spirituality. They gonna get this work regardless. You know what I mean? So I like when people come in here to spy because they gonna hear what I'm really about and what I got for the people. Okay, Melrose in the building. That's what's up. Oh, the Bronx is deep in here. That's what's up. And I mean, we only got 18 people in here, but you know, hopefully it'll warm up. Y'all like the channel, share it out. You know what I mean? The likes is what push it to the algorithm. This is what I'm being told. So I'm trying to get in the algorithm now. You know what I mean? Trying to get high in the algorithms, y'all. And subscribe to the channel if you ain't subscribed. Subscribe to the channel, man. But yeah, let me see. It's Memorial Day, bro. Most people, oh yeah, it is Memorial Day. Yo, bro, I be on another planet sometimes. Word to mother. I ain't even realize it was Memorial Day. That's word. That's word. It's raining where I'm at, so there ain't nobody out over here. The far northeast, you know, up in the Massachusetts area and Providence area, Rhode Island area, it's raining real hard right now. So I don't think nobody outside. But you're right though. The rest of the country, everybody probably grilling and cooking out, especially at this time. People getting ready for the cookouts. I'm bugging. I should have planned this live for later tonight. Or I forgot all about Memorial Day. I'm keeping it a band. Why she asking me this now? When I asked her this, you seen Bigger Velly say he's nicer than Kane? Yeah, yo, Max is bugging right now. Some things though, you got to realize. What I'm beginning to realize though, I think a lot of people do things for shock value and to get in the algorithm, man. I think he or maybe not. I think maybe he ain't even mean to do that. Maybe he was just talking. You know what I'm saying? Some things, because I think Jim Jones said he was nicer than Nas. Now that one, I know for a fact he did that to get in the algorithm because he know doggone well he ain't nicer than no he ain't nicer than Nas. Nas my favorite rapper. Jim Jones ain't nowhere on Nas's level. So that one right there, I knew was just to get him in the algorithm to get his name in conversations. But for Max B to say he's nicer than Kane, Max B's just arrogant enough to actually believe that, man. You know what I'm saying? I think he's arrogant enough to believe that, man. You know what I mean? But you see Kane fired at him. Kane fired at him real quick. Max don't want that work. Who, me? I'm always speaking on the algorithm. We watch the repeat, so you good. Yeah, man. A lot of people do that, man. But yeah, but he bugging out though. He bugging out, talking about he better than Kane. Kane came and spit some rapid fire at him, and now he ducking. He ducking that work. He gonna duck that smoke. He don't want that. He don't want them kind of problems, man. Kane is a different animal, and he still got it. And he's God forbid he go find some writers. God forbid he find some writers. Max ain't lyrical though. Max make music, so I don't even know why he would say that. Like Max is not like Max ain't nobody we consider a lyricist or we gonna consider nice. Do he make good music? Yeah. Do he ride a wave? Yeah. Is he melodic? Yeah. He different? Yeah. I give him all of that. His swag is through the roof. He's a different type of artist, but Kane is not in his. He's not. That's not a good comparison. Like he's a Max B is like a young thug or a gunner, you know what I'm saying? Or a Drake, Tory Lanez. Like Max is in that lane. I think he created that lane, to be honest. He created that lane. So that's where he's at with it. But he ain't no Big Daddy Kane, man. He ain't nobody that's gonna battle. None of them dudes I just named are people who gonna battle. The only one who might could battle maybe Tory Lanez and Drake. You know what I mean? They nice enough to do both. You know what I mean? But he's in that character, he's in that group of music makers, people that harmonize and make good music. Max is like that, but he ain't no come on, man. He probably even got more gold in number one singles than Big Daddy Kane. First of all, Kane is an icon. That's right. Yeah, Max ain't Kane. I'm telling you, Max think he make good music. Other than the shit he doing with Frenchie right now, he probably don't even got more number one singles than Big Daddy Kane. He probably don't. Like bar for bar and Emmys and Grammys and accolades, he can't even match accolades with Big Daddy Kane. He can't even do that. So I don't know what made him I don't know what made him say that, man. You know what I'm saying? He cocky, man. I don't know what made him do that. He should have apologized. They new shit is trash. It is trash, but they making like pop songs. They making hits. The last two songs they have, I hear on the radio when I'm out here with all white people, and they playing it on the radio. They playing it like in Massachusetts. They playing it. They said Max was drunk. He was drunk. I seen the interview. He was a little tipsy. But he supposed to win and apologize, or at least I seen Gilly said that he pushed Big Daddy Kane in the algorithm by talking about him like that. He made him relevant again, right? That's what Max should have did. He should have said that. He should have been like, man, I knew what I was doing. I was just trying to get the OG some shine. You know what I'm saying? He should have cleaned it up. Like, don't stand on that. My relationship with French, I never really had. Oh, Cool G Rap is before Nas. Cool G Rap was my favorite rapper, and then Nas took that spot. So you know what type of time I'm on. Like Cool G Rap was my favorite rapper, man, and then Nas came along, and Nas became my favorite rapper. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he bugging out, man. You should put a quarter in his ass because he played himself. Y'all remember that from the symphony? Remember Kane said that? So put a quarter in your ass because you played yourself. Yeah, she should put a quarter in it. You know what I mean? How's my relationship with French? I never really had a relationship with French. You know what I'm saying? I know him, he know of me, but we was never cool. I never really hung out with him. You know what I'm saying? When I knew him like I knew French in like 99, 98, 99 is when I seen him, right? He wasn't on, he wasn't rapping or nothing. He probably started rapping probably like in 2000, 2001, and he began to hang out with some people that I hung out with. But when he started hanging out with them, I was already in prison. So we missed each other on that. I knew him before 98, 99. I seen him around probably 96, 98, 99. I seen him around. I went to prison. I came home in '06, and he was kind of already doing this thing. So I missed the time when he started hanging out with, DFL. Him and Rel was hanging out with DFL. I missed that whole wave. When Rel started rapping and French started rapping, I was in prison. So I missed that wave. So me and Frenchie never had a relationship, but he knows me. You know what I'm saying? If he see me, he knows who I am. You know what I mean? But we never had a relationship. Like me and Rel, me and Fred the godson. I had a real relationship with Fred. Me and Rel grew up together, so that's different. But me and Fred the godson had a real relationship. You know what I mean? And when Frenchie wasn't allowed in the hood no more, when he wasn't coming around the hood no more, Fred the godson was the in between. He used to tell us what was going on with French and vice versa. And Fred the God, may he rest in peace. He's the one who actually told me about the Illuminati. That Frenchie said he was joining the Illuminati and stuff like that. And we knew it to be real because, like I said, the individuals that they was running with, I don't want to say too much, but one of the individuals who are responsible for a lot of these artists' success, he was telling us about the Illuminati back in the late '90s. You know what I'm saying? So we already knew, know what I mean, about the Illuminati and these rituals and a lot of the things that they be into back then. But we really got our first taste of reality through French. Through Frenchie one telling Fred that he was joining the Illuminati and that he was going to be a household name in a couple of years, and that actually happened. You know what I'm saying? That actually happened. And then we kind of watched how Fred didn't get accepted into their little circles, right? And that was the first time I heard any rainbow activity from P. Diddy. That's the first time because Fred and French was both had relationships with Sean Prez, and it was told to Fred that Diddy wasn't interested in him. He didn't have the look, and he was like, well, he had big. The nigga had Biggie Smalls. Like Biggie Smalls ain't more handsome than me. Fred, rest in peace. He was cocky in his ways too. He's like, man, he told me I ain't got the look. He was like, no, he's not interested in you. I mean, interested in that kind of way. And we was like, what? And when we was told this, we like, nah, I don't think it was what we thought it was, but like I said, things ended up coming out later that kind of like, made me say, wow, maybe he did mean he wasn't interested in him and he didn't have the look he was looking for. The look. So yeah, I ain't never really had no relationship with French. Is what true? Damn, y'all kicked him out the hood. Yeah, he kind of got yeah, he kind of he did a lot. Frenchie did a lot of bull crap. All of them do though. When you get to a certain level, you got to cut people off. You know what I'm saying? So he had to kind of like cut people off and do certain little things. And you know how the hood is. The hood be looking for a reason, especially if you're not tough and you don't have people that's tough from the neighborhood backing you. The people gonna look for any little reason to vote you off the island, so to speak. And that's kind of what happened to him even before he started popping. So when he started popping, of course he didn't reach back for certain people because he kind of already did a lot of bad things before he started popping. You know what I mean? And before he got famous. So, but yeah, he had a little band on him for a little while. He had a little band from the hood. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, he might still be banned over there. He didn't do the right thing. You know what I mean? A lot of these dudes they forget. You know what I'm saying? And behind the scenes, a lot of these rappers. I was what's the kid from the Bronx? I'm friends with his mother on TikTok. He's more of a producer from the Bronx. He's from Uptown. Is it Zaytoven? Is Zaytoven? I think it's Zaytoven. Is Zaytoven from the Bronx, y'all? I think that's who. Yeah, I think it's Zaytoven. Yeah, I'm actually friends with Zaytoven's mother on TikTok, and we had a long conversation because she was talking about the Illuminati and how her son, man, that dude, he kind of like shunned his own mother. He don't even deal with his own mother. Yeah, he kind of shunned his own mother. Showbiz and AG from the BX. You cool with Kid Springs? I don't even know who Kid Springs is. Zaytoven's from Atlanta. All right, then it's not Zaytoven then. I forgot the kid from the Bronx. It'll come to me. He got the song with Ice Spice. It's him and Ice Spice. They had the song that was popping like a year or two ago. The Feds got Zach Black. Who's Zach? You talking about Frenchie brother Zach? I don't know who that is. Not Riot, nah. Zaytoven from yeah, I don't know who Kid Springs is. Nixon 4, Nixon 4, Nixon 4. Yeah, you know my Knicks about to do something. I don't really watch basketball, but I'm gonna watch this. They make it to the chip. I'm watching every game. I ain't really been watching. You know what I'm saying? They've been winning. I've been kind of tempted, but I've been too busy. You know what I'm saying? I've been too busy. I ain't really a fan anymore, but when something like this, like the Knicks or the Giants go to the Super Bowl or the Knicks go to the NBA chip, oh, I'm gonna watch. The Yankees go to the pennant, I'm gonna watch. You know what I'm saying? But I don't really watch all the games like I used to. You gonna bet with me? You better be betting with them Knicks. You better be betting with them Knicks. They gonna do the right thing. NBA seems fixed since legal gambling started. Alive for hire. That's number one for the Feds. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Unalive for hire. Yeah, that's the worst thing you could do with the Feds. That's the worst thing you could do. Them unalives for hire and what is worse. And it's the same thing. Whenever you could get somebody to unalive somebody, whether it's an unalive for hire or you're a gang leader and you can order people to do things, those are the two people that they don't look too kindly on. They don't look too kindly on it. And the feds is weird in that way. It's like, when people cooperate on unalive for hires, the guy who actually did it can tell on the person who paid him, and the person who paid him and get more time than the person who actually did it. For real. They don't play about that. What books am I reading now? I haven't read a book in a minute, man. I haven't read a book in a minute. Since I've been home, I only read books. I got a collection. I only been reading books that I had when I was in prison. So I haven't read any new books, but today I'm actually going to pick up some encyclopedias. Somebody got some encyclopedias for sale and on Facebook Marketplace. So I'm about to go drive 40 minutes away to go grab these encyclopedias. Corey Guns. Is Corey Guns good in the hood now or STEM in the hood now? Corey Guns is from the neighborhood. I know Corey. I met Corey. I met him a few times. Nah, that's a fact. Oh, Start Engine. Yeah, man. Start Engine. Man. Start Engine. I spent all my money on there. I ain't been on there in a while. I ain't been on there in a while, but Start engine is a very, very good tool. You got to remember, man, there was a time when it was hard to catch IPOs. It was hard to catch, you know, these startup companies. It was hard to buy into it. Now you got a whole site where you can buy into these companies, man, and build with the company. Man, Start Engine is a gem. That is a blessing. It really is. Just seeing Cody. What Cody? Stop fronting. Who is this? Who's Smokey? Who are you? Did you come here to troll? How many people have I? Yeah, you trolling. I haven't. I don't do those type of things, Smokey. And if you insinuating violence, I'm gonna have to put you in timeout. I don't want to have to put you in timeout, but you insinuating violence, and I'm gonna have to put you in timeout if you keep insinuating violence. But yeah, I knew Corey. Corey Guns is cool. Corey Guns is cool. Those are only rappers I know. I met a lot of rappers, but those are the only ones that I actually like. No, it's Fred. Um, I can't really say French. I could only list French because I knew him before he like blew up. You know what I mean? But Fred, Harrell, Corey. I knew Corey before he blew up. You know what I mean? He's from the neighborhood. He's right around the corner. And I grew up with Grandmaster Flash's son, so I used to see him all the time. Terrell. Um, yeah, I genuinely got love for Pharrell, man. You know what I'm saying? I genuinely got love for him. That's literally my childhood friend. You know what I'm saying? We slept in the same bed, man. We used to share Chinese food. You know what I'm saying? I'm always gonna have love for him. He's just a bozo. You know what I'm saying? And I was a little offended, that hurt, I'm gonna say. I was actually hurt, to be honest. And that don't happen a lot. You know what I mean? I try to control my emotions, but I was a little hurt at the fact that he was actually trying to get me hurt all the while speaking to me. You understand what I'm saying? Like I it's hard to understand people like him. It's hard to understand people like him. And what I mean by that is, first of all, first and foremost, I'm gonna get spiritual real quick. I gotta always do that because whenever I'm trying to explain somebody and explain, my feelings towards another human being, it's gonna sound conflicted because as a human, I respond in a human way when my emotions get involved. Then I have to get spiritual and realize that people have entities and energies attached to them that causes them to do things that they wouldn't do in a right state of mind or a right state of spirit, so to speak. So he's one of those people. He's one of those people. Yeah, it's hard to fully understand, but I could attribute it to, I could use this as an analogy. You ever see how DMX wife speaks of him? I don't know if you ever seen her interviews, but if you ever see DMX's wife speak of DMX, she'll say, well, that was X. I don't like dealing with X. When I speak to him, I deal with Earl. If you ever hear her, she basically disseminates between DMX, the artist, and Earl, the person. So I always took that as, and I believe she's spiritual and understands this. I don't think she's just talking to talk. I think she understands when the entity and energy of DMX is in control of the vessel, and when Earl, the person his mother gave birth to, is in control of the vessel, right? So I say all that to say it's like that with Harrell. I know when I'm talking to Harrell or when I'm talking to Darrell Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? So If you heard some of the videos or the recordings that I put out on him, a lot of those videos was him being Darrell. He's a pathological liar. He has a photographic memory. So if he tell you something that ain't true, it ain't because he don't remember, it's because he's straight lying. And he's funny. He's a funny dude. He's a pathological liar. I mean it. He cannot help but lie. He's been like that since we was kids. He cannot sit and just talk regular without embellishing, without over exaggerating or straight lying. That's just him. So I know when I'm speaking to him and when I'm speaking to the entity. And what happens is he goes in and out so much that that's how he was able to be my friend and talk to me and have real conversations. And we'd be on the phone for hours. My other childhood friend, Smash, they'd be on the phone for hours. So we can be on the phone with him for hours, and then he'll turn right around and call some gangbangers that he's doing music with that he may think we still in communication with and tell him, yeah, man, Bucks is doing this, he's driving this. Yeah, people want to murder him, whoop, whoop, whoop. And he'll talk gangster stuff with them and literally be saying things that can get me or the other brother hurt. And I was a little hurt by that. You know what I mean? But I have to stay vigilant in my prayers and my meditations and understand that he's not always in control of that vessel. That he himself really don't mean no harm. And I be telling the other brother that, and our other man, it was three of us. We was the three amigos. My brother Smash. Smash don't be wanting to hear it. You know what I'm saying? He don't want to hear it at all. He like, oh, he tried to get us killed. How could you still be or have a sore spot for somebody who tried to get us killed? Woo, woo. I want to do this to him. I'm gonna do that to him when I see him. I'm gonna woo, 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 woo. And I don't feel the same. You know what I mean? I'm always gonna have love for him. I'm always gonna have love for him. I ever heard her say that. Let me see what you're saying. Would you ever speak to have heard her say that? Respect your honesty. Have heard her say that or him say that. I don't get what you saying. Uh, C Dub, C Dub Young, C Dub Young Cable. Yeah, I don't get what you're trying to say. It's one of those in every hood. Yeah, man. Like so, it was baffling, man. You know what I mean? He had this young artist that when I was living in Connecticut, we have a mutual friend, and he was doing music with the mutual friend's son. And he's talking crazy. He's telling the mutual son, who's a gangbanger, active gangbanger, that my paperwork ain't right and they need to watch out for me. I could be working with the FBI and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I just spoke to him. If I didn't show our mutual friend the text messages and the phone conversation, he probably wouldn't believe me. The way he was talking, he was like, yo, bro, he was like, yo, don't deal with Bucks, be careful. He wearing wires, trying to get me physically hurt. But we were speaking. We were speaking. So I continued to speak to him. And then, that's when I started recording him because I was like, you know what? Because my other man, he been recording him. He been recording him. So he kept telling me, man, record him, record him, record him, because society and people wouldn't believe it. He's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So if we didn't record him and he was saying the things he said, people would have just really assumed that, he's this super real nigga who's against what we were doing, who was against snitches or whatever the case may be. And everything he's saying is law because he's held around. We kind of had to record him just so people could see, like, well, here you go. Look what he does. This is just what he does. This is who he is. Him saying he laced this woman's drink probably was a lie. Why would he lie? I know people like, well, why would he lie? Why would he? That's just who he is. A pathological liar is like a kleptomaniac. They can't help their impulses. They can't help their impulses, even if it's something that we wouldn't lie about or something that we wouldn't steal, even if we, I always say I don't steal, but I've robbed. So it's the same thing, right? But I guess the sneakiness of stealing, I don't know. But, you know, so when someone is like that, you can't say, think with a rational mind, well, why would he lie about spiking a woman's drink and essaying her? Why would anybody lie about that? You wouldn't even want to do that. Never mind lie about it, but you can't rationalize, a pathological liar. You can't. So, but yeah, I still got love for him, man. I always gonna have love for him. He's a child, man, spiritually. I'm gonna share something with y'all that I shared with him in a letter. I didn't tell him since I've been home when we was talking, but I shared it to him in a letter. And I shared this to some with my spiritual advisor, my brother, my big brother. And he broke the dream down to me because I wanted to be sure, what I was well, it wasn't a dream, it was an astral projection. But I'm gonna tell y'all this. It's about Rel too. Did Harrell really do that to that lady? I don't know. He said he did, but I don't know. He said he did, but it could have all been a lie. He lied so much, so I couldn't really tell you. You know what I'm saying? But so yeah, so what I was gonna say was why I generally one of the reasons why I generally got love for him is because and I'm not saying this to big myself up, I'm just being honest. When we grew up, he always followed behind me. You know what I'm saying? He was my tag along. He did whatever I did. So a lot of times when I got in trouble, you know, he was always there. Then when he got in trouble and I wasn't there, but he got in trouble, his mother would always know that I was there. She would always know. You know what I mean? If he got locked up and I didn't, she would come because he lived right upstairs over me. So they had to pass my apartment to get to the second floor because I lived on the first floor. So if he got arrested, like clockwork, she'll come knocking on my door and go tell my grandmother, yeah, Darrell got arrested, and I know Charlie was with him, and I know they did this and this and this and this and this. She would come tell my grandmother, like she would act like I did what he did, even though I did whatever he did, I did too. You know what I'm saying? But so I was always responsible for him, so to speak, in the eyes of his mother, right? I was always responsible for him. You know what I mean? Because she knew he ran behind me. He listened to me. So I say all that to say this. When I was in prison this time, the last time, probably around 2017, 2018, around the time when he had got beat up, I was in prison and his mother had passed away. But I didn't know she had passed away. But I had a dream. It's an astral projection, but I'm gonna say a dream for lack of a better term. And in this dream, I was in front of my building. The building we grew up in, and it was a procession, but it was limousines. It wasn't like no hearse or nothing. It was a bunch of limousines. There was nobody got out of them, but his mother was sitting on the stoop of my building. And when I walked up to her, let me backtrack. When I had beat him up and took his chain, right? I had beat him up and took his chain. And that hold on, y'all. All right, y'all hear me now? I don't know what part I went out on, but y'all just started saying that. All right. So I'm a backtrack. I'm gonna get back into the dream, but I backtracked a little bit. In 2006, I had beat him up and took his chain. Yeah, right. That's where we at. So after I did that to him, his mother wouldn't speak to me. She wouldn't speak to me no more. And may God rest her soul. Miss Ruby was a beautiful lady, right? So after I did that to him, she would walk right by me and wouldn't speak to me. And she never did that. And all the years of me knowing them, she's always, I'm talking about when he got arrested and I was still running around free because he got arrested a lot more than me. And she was still just like always love me, always hug me. Basically, like she kept it like that because she knew I was like his protector, so to speak. I fought all his battles. I was the fighter. He wasn't really a fighter. So she loved me for that. So after that happened, she stopped speaking to me. And a lot of it, I believe, was like, all right, he don't need you no more. He's famous, so he don't need you. So there's no reason for me to keep speaking to you. Because I always felt that she always kept it cordial with me because she felt like I would fight for him and I was his protector, right? So now that he's rapping now, and granted, I did beat him up and take his chain. So she stopped speaking to me. She'll walk right by me. And she did that for years. I got locked up in 2016. So from '06 to 2016, whenever I saw Miss Ruby, she'll walk right by me. She wouldn't even speak to me, wouldn't even look at me, right? So let me get back to the vision now, to the dream, so to speak. So in the dream, I'm walking down the block. There's a funeral procession. There's like a bunch of limousines. There's no people. It's just his mother. She's sitting on the steps of my building. And I thought she wasn't going to, in the dream, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, well, she's not going to speak to me. So she got up and she said, come in. And she hugged me. Yeah, he was fighting back. Despite him running and all that, he's not really, he's soft, but we grew up fighting, so he gonna fight you back. You put your hands on him, he gonna fight you. Like, we all grew up fighting. He ain't gonna just let you put your hands on him. You know what I'm saying? But so I seen her on the steps of the building in a vision, and I thought she wasn't gonna speak to me because she never spoke to me. So she got up and she said, "Come in." She was crying, and she hugged me, and she hugged me in the dream, and she said to me that I love you. I forgave you. I forgive you for what you did to my son. And I'm glad you turning your life around. I'm glad you gave your life to Christ. I swear to God, this is what she said in the dream, in the vision. But it wasn't, this was an astral projection. I did this twice in my life. So she says, I'm proud of you. You gave your life to Christ and you changed your life. I'm proud of you. I forgave you. She said, but please promise me you will lead my son to Christ. Promise me you'll get him out of the negativity and lead him to Christ. And she backed up from me. She said, will you promise me this? Promise me. And I said, yeah. And I was telling her, yeah, but she kept saying, promise me, promise me. And I was like, yes, 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 yes. I wakes up. When I wakes up, I goes to call my aunt on the phone. It was just, I used to call my aunt every Sunday. I mean, yeah, Sunday. So this just happened to be a Sunday. And I called my aunt. And as soon as I get on the phone, she said, you heard what happened? I said, no, what? She said, Miss Ruby passed this morning. I kid you not. My Aunt Paula can verify this. She was like, Miss Ruby passed this morning. I said, yeah. She was like, yeah. I didn't even know she was in a coma. I knew she was sick and in and out the hospital. But my aunt tells me, she says, yeah, she's been in a coma for the last couple of weeks and she passed away today. It's weird you call. It's crazy you call on time, but they just told me she passed away. Now, I already knew. Y'all. I already knew. So what I did was, no, I didn't get to speak to my brother. So when I came home, I ended up telling the brother the vision. He said, "Yeah, that wasn't a dream. That was an astral projection. Y'all met on Weeks Avenue in the astral plane when she was her physically she wasn't responsive, but she was still conscious. So spiritually, while you was in that state of rest, your spirit and her spirit both met on an astral plane on maybe fourth dimensional Weeks Avenue or 3.5 dimensional Weeks Avenue. Y'all met there. She wanted to see you before she made her transition. I promise y'all. I wrote a letter. I still remember his address, 2B, 1767, 10457. I wrote her address. I knew she had passed on, but my aunt told me that he was still staying in her apartment. And I wrote the address and I wrote him a long ass letter. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't respond. But yeah, I seen her the day she made her transition. We met on Weeks Avenue on my 3 kids and my grandmother grave. Y'all, I'm not making this shit up. Yeah, I don't even like swearing on stuff like that. You know what I mean? When I say something, I mean it. I don't be playing. You know what I mean? But yeah. So I say all that to say, do I still love the nigga? Yeah, I still love the nigga. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like he has to go back to being Darrell, and his mother knew that I could lead him out of whatever he may have done, whether he gave his booty hole up, whether he gave his soul up, whatever he did. I don't think he did nothing too major because he ain't never really make it nowhere, right? Um, I believe she knew that I could lead him back to Christ, that I could lead him back to being Darrell Muhammad, and for that, I'm always gonna feel responsible for the little nigga. You know what I'm saying? Because he you know what I mean? He's a child, and not just in spirituality, but in life. He's still stuck in the mind frame. He still wants to prove himself. Do y'all know what I'm saying? Like he was y'all know he ugly. So he always was the ugly duckling. He always was the butt of the jokes. He always was the sophist out of our little particular little crew. So he spent his whole life trying to prove himself, wanting to be something that he wasn't. And that's why rap was good on him, because he was, one, he's a pathological liar. Two, he has a photographic memory. And anybody with a photographic memory, if you know, in order to learn something, your brain has to retain what you read or what you study or what you see, right? So a person with a photographic memory is going to be a highly intelligent human being, because that means they can remember most of the stuff we forget, right? So he's highly intelligent as far as knowing things, but his his actions, he's one of the dumbest people on the face of the planet, if that makes any sense. He's always seeking approval of others. He's always portraying an image. He's always acting, and he's always trying to be something he's not. He's been like that. So rap fit good on him to portray an image, to memorize your lines. Like, he would be a good actor, right? He'd be a perfect actor. You know what I'm saying? But he was just never good at none of this shit because he's constantly trying to prove himself. So he puts himself in a box, right? He doesn't want to be. He can't go to the streets because he's not really in the streets no more. But he done turned a lot of the street people off, acting like he's rich and he's doing so good in the music industry. And then in the music industry, when he goes around those people and he pisses them off, he pretends that he's so good in the streets and he has so much money in the streets that he doesn't need to rap. So he got the rap people thinking he good because he's a street nigga. Then he got the street niggas thinking he's good because he's a rapper. And then he puts himself in this little space that he's stuck in. And he's not a talker, he's not a thinker. Being smart doesn't make you a thinker, if y'all understand what I'm saying. You can have somebody who's book smart, but they have no common sense, right? You can have somebody who's book smart, but because they're not a leader and they're not innovative, because they're not innovative and a leader in that way, they don't know how to make something out of their situation. And that's why he's stuck in the rut that he's been stuck in. He should be rich. Even on his career didn't do good, he should be rich. He should be rich. He's meant, you can't put somebody with any level of leadership or intelligence and you shaking hands with millionaires and you don't become one. You know? And a lot of things are karma as well, too. When you create a lot of karma, you create a lot of bad luck, you burn a lot of bridges, you know, people don't want to touch you. People don't want to touch you. And the music execs, now we're going to get spiritual for a second. Music execs, when you get around people who are spiritual vampires, right? You lose your value. Let y'all understand what I'm saying here, because I believe this happens to a lot of rappers, right? Just think about what I'm saying, right? There's been a commonality with people that I've met who are related to famous people or know famous people. Swizz Beats, Jay-Z, These are people that I know, people who family members and Busta Rhymes. It goes on and on and on. And there's a commonality that I start to realize a lot of these stars have. And y'all want to know what this commonality is? And when I start studying witchcraft, I understand and understand why certain people are chosen. Y'all ready for this? I'm gonna take this clip out because this is gonna be a good one. And I've never read this in a book or nowhere. Just me reading magic and spirituality and understanding human beings. I'm gonna show y'all something. There's a commonality that I realized from the French Montanas, the Harrells, the people that I know. And I've met Swiss Beats' first cousin. I've met Busta Rhymes' cousins. I've met the list goes on and on and on. Jay-Z, people that grew up around Jay-Z. I'm gonna tell you what these people have in common. All of them. The guys who make it to the level of getting into the industry, most of the ones that I know, I'm not gonna say all, but most of the ones that I know, the one thing they have in common is before they were in the industry, they were not somebody of big significance in their area, their surrounding areas. There was always somebody that they tail behind or follow behind. They were never that dude. Most of these rappers, most of these rappers were not that dude where they were from. They were always tailing behind somebody or the rut out of the crew or the rut out of the family. They were never the standout. They were never. They were always the quiet, timid, humble. Did they have talent? Yeah, they had talent, but they would not stand out in their community or in their household. And this is just what I believe. When it comes to the point where you get in front of the Illuminati, or you get in front of these warlocks, or you get in front of these people who say, okay, we're going to take your natural talent and we're going to make you a star. I believe that they choose the people who were the runts, the ones who didn't have no good power or wasn't significant in their environment because of this. Those will be the people that will do anything except 50. Except 50. 50 is the only one. It's crazy you say that. I've heard 50 with somebody. So he's different. He's different. But all the rest of them, right? That I've come across people. I've come across people who knew 50. 50 was actually somebody before he became the rap. He might be the exception to this rule, right? But there's different things going on. There's different societies, there's different ways in. So I'm just gonna say for the most part. And what happens is when those people get to the point of being famous, this is just what I believe. Because they were never nobody important their entire life, when you offer that person the opportunity to be somebody important, right? You give Jay-Z the opportunity to surpass Dame Dash, to surpass D Haven, to surpass Biggs, to surpass the people that he or Jazzo, all of the people who he was behind and running behind and looking up to. When you give him the opportunity to surpass those people, there's almost nothing somebody like that would not do to further their career or to further their fame. There's almost nothing a person like that wouldn't do just to be famous. It don't even be about the money with those people because they have been in the shadows of someone else their entire lives. Tell me if that makes sense to y'all. Tell me if that makes sense to y'all. Because if you have somebody like, just for a lack of a better example, someone like 50 Cent or someone like Rod Diggs or somebody like me or somebody who already is the man in their neighborhood. They already famous in their own right, right? They already have star power. Before the industry, they already just even in their household, right? If you come to me and say, well, give me your booty to be famous, or sacrifice this family member, or sacrifice, you're inclined to, those people are inclined to say, nah, I'm already somebody. I'm already famous. I don't need you. What I am, I already have. So if I take my talents somewhere else, I'm going to be able to do this anyway. I can do this without you, actually. So why would I sacrifice a family member? Why would I give you my booty hole or the things that you're asking. I don't need you for that, right? They know this. They know this for two reasons. They know this because a lot of these record execs are into Kabbalah magic and they do have wizards and warlocks. So they have spirits that can tell them what's going on with you, whether you would do it or not. So they know it on that level. And then two, they know you have a big spirit. So they know not to even come at you like that because it's not going to work. So it has to be somebody who's thirsty to be in the forefront because their whole life, whether they was a little brother, whether they was somebody's little man, they was the person somebody everybody sent to the store for Dutchess. They've been waiting in the wings to be the man. They've been waiting in the wings to be the man. They can't wait. So when they say, "Hey, here's the opportunity to be the man," then people give up their mother. They'll give up their firstborn. They'll give up anybody to get there because they didn't have, they just want to be somebody. They've been wanting to be somebody since they came out the womb. They've been wanting to outshine the master since they came out the womb. So when they're presented with that opportunity, there's nothing they won't do. Now, where I think he fell off, Rel, I'm speaking of, is this is what I believe. I believe before he made it to Leo Cohen, for lack of a better term, peace, love, and light. Peace, love, and light, Rico. I believe before he made it to those back rooms, I believe he already gave himself to Cam. I believe he already hoarded himself out to so many different people before he got to get in those back rooms with a Leo Cohen or whoever. I believe he already hoarded himself out so much that he devalued himself. Let me see if does that make any sense to y'all? Does that make any sense to y'all? He already didn't have nothing to give because he already disrespected his mother. May she rest in peace. He already shitted on everybody that he knew. He already distanced himself from his own brother. He already did all of these things before he was even offered the deal. So when it came time, if it was ever even a time for him to get the deal or go to the next level, he had already did everything that we can't offer you to do anything because you already gave up everything and we know you would give up everything. There's no challenge here that we're not breaking you. Do you understand what I'm saying, y'all? When somebody sacrifices a loved one, tap my screen like my live, y'all. If somebody already gave up the goods, then it devalues you. It's like a woman when she, you courting her, you doing everything you need to do to get with her. And the minute she give up the goods, you stop dating her. You know what I mean? You stop giving her the good morning, beautiful Texas, right? That's how it is in the spirituality. I think he devalued himself before he got to those back rooms. So he never made it to the back room because he didn't have nothing to give. Him chasing behind the little ones as they was getting their little deals and their little stuff going on, he had already hoarded himself out to them. So he devalued himself. That's what happened. Diggs was an ADX step down, then he popped it off. Now he back in ADX hold. Wow. Oh, let me see if I missed some. Book smart can't even take care of basic needs in life, like keeping a roof over their head and etc. It's a lot of people like that. Yeah, there is. And he's one of them. And he's one of them. He's one of them, y'all. I mean, I was in prison, you know what I'm saying? So I missed a lot of the beginning, but you know, we ain't gonna get into the if or woulda, coulda, shoulda because the Most High Creator blessed me by putting me in prison when they first started running around with Dipset. Because had I been home, everybody would have been everybody would have been federally indicted. There'd have been more people unalived. I would have been terrible. You know what I'm saying? So there was a time when I was like, man, if I was dead, man, if I was dead, I would have just caused a lot of death and destruction because they would have gave me more money and would have gave me more power, and I would have still had all of these demons around me, and it wouldn't have been good. You know what I mean? Yeah, we would have all been rich. Everybody would have been taken care of. That is a fact. That is a fact. But it would have cost me my soul, man. You know what I'm saying? Not saying I would have sold my soul or nothing like that. But I would have been doing so much wrong and so much human sacrifices that they wouldn't even have to ask me to do shit because I would have been doing it on my own. I would have been a little Dirk on steroid. I'd have been like a little Dirk type of dude. You know what I mean? I would have been paying for people to get knocked off. I'd have been knocking people off. I'd have been robbing people in all the industry. Everything would have been bad, man. I was a rotten human being. I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for that. You know what I mean? I was an ignorant person, man. I was ignorant. Street smart, get to a bag, all of that. But I was arrogant, I was cocky, and the shit that was attached to me needed blood. You know what I'm saying? It needed blood. It needed blood. So with more power becomes more responsibilities, man. And absolute power corrupts absolutely all the time. And it would have been a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I was put here. I wasn't put here to do that. I was put here to do this. I used to go in the studio and I used to rap. I couldn't even hear the beat straight. I never told Rel this. I told a few people this, but I never told him this. We used to go to the studio. I probably got about like 7 songs with him. I do got 7 songs, but I'm gonna tell y'all something, right? Every time I went to the studio, every song that I had with Rel, I made up on the spot. All the good material that I spent in prison writing all of these lyrics and stuff like that, all my best material, when it came time for me to go into the studio, I couldn't hear the beat. I couldn't hear the beat. I couldn't get the beat. And I'm one of them dudes who spent my whole life beating on a car, rapping, beating on the mailbox, rapping, beating on my chest, rapping. Every time it came time for me to get inside the studio, the headphones would sound like they had water in them. I couldn't hear the beat. I was too slow for the beat, too fast for the beat. As soon as it go off and I go to my corner and I'm rapping to the beat, I could do it perfectly. And the engineers would be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And as soon as I go in there, I could never be on timing. And all of that was my angels was protecting me. They knew that not only was I was going to be horrible in a position of power at that time, my soul would have been in bondage badly for all of the death that I was going to disseminate over that music. That's all I talked about was death. That's all I rapped about, y'all. That's all I rapped about death and told so many real life stories about murders so bad that the engineer, shout out to Saga, man. If anybody who know the engineer Saga who did a lot of Dipset stuff, shout out to Saga. He was working with Nicki Minaj. Intelligent brother, man. We sat there for hours because when I went in the studio, he had a whole bunch of books in the book crate. And we sat there. But anyway, I would sit there, man, and all I rapped about was death and destruction. So I believe in my heart that not only did my angels and the higher up know that once I got in power and got some money, that I would have just did a lot of death, but also I was programming these young brothers for this drill scene. I was programming people already. And I was drill music before drill music. All my songs was about death and revenge for death. All my songs. That's all I rapped about, y'all. I'm being out. Yeah, did I rap about money? Yeah, I could rap about anything. But a lot of my music was based around someone being unalived and you unaliving people for your friend who was unalived. I had 10 songs just with different hooks, different words about that particular topic. You know what I'm saying? And I had a friend named an individual named Storm that was one of my associates in the streets, and he had all of my music. Right, he had my music in his Pro Tools session, and he lived on 176 in Walton. They call that Dub City. These young niggas had got indicted in 2012 or 2011. I can't remember the year they got indicted, but they had got indicted. They had did like 16 shootings in like 2 months time, something ridiculous. They was averaging like 2 shootings a week, like something ridiculous like that. And they had got indicted. And their beef was with a block called 280. And their whole beef was over somebody who got unalived accidentally. And then these 2 blocks ended engaging into a feud, right? But do you know that this individual Storm, he was real impressionable on these young brothers. He's an impressionable dude. He's a master manipulator. Master manipulator, y'all. And every time I would go to Davidson, he would be playing my music and he would have a whole bunch of little young boys in there. All of these young boys ended up being the hitters or the shooters, whatever you want to call them. You know, Ja Moolah, all of them, Africa, all the little young boys. They be in the house with Storm listening to my music. And one day I came and he had my music playing, and before he let me in the apartment, he stood outside the door with the door closed. He was like, "Yo, I'm gonna show you something, bro." And when we walked into the apartment, it probably was about like 5, 6 of the young boys. They was in there bagging up their crack, bagging up their weed with my music playing, and they all was rapping my lyrics. I never put this on a tape. It was never on a CD. It was never on a tape. They knew my music from Storm playing my music from the Pro Tools session. They knew my music from him playing it out the computer. It was never printed. It was never put on CD or nothing. He was like, "Look," and I seen him rapping. He was like, "Yo, you got to do this music stuff. Look how you got him." I feel in my heart that I'm gonna tell y'all something after I say this, that I was already programming them. This is before they friend had got unalive. This is before the war had started with them, because this is probably about '06, '06, '07, maybe. They feud didn't start to probably about 2010, 2011. I feel that I know that I'm not gonna say feel that I already pre-programmed them to revenge death. I already gave them their war cry. And this is what drill music is today. We don't realize it. Drill music is basically a war cry, and it is the chant and the background music to the death, and this is disseminating death and revenge for death. This is what the smoking on each other's dead. This is what's spinning. This whole drill culture is about revenge for murder. That's what it's all about. So I was already propagating drill music before it became famous, right? And this is what's going on. I said this in a live before, and I'll say it again. I used to make music, and everything that I rapped about started to come true. I'm gonna say that again. I used to make lyrics, and the things that I rapped about started to become true. I have a video with me and Harrell. It's an actual video. I'm gonna put it on my channel one day. And I'm in the booth while he's being interviewed. I'm in the booth rapping, and you can hear my music playing in the background. And this particular song, the whole song was about somebody killing this guy. Know that you murdered his brother for a drug block. I'm gonna play it for y'all. I'm gonna say all of these words over again, and I'm gonna play that music, and then I'm gonna put up the evidence to back what I'm saying, because it's very important on a multitude of levels. But what I'm saying is this: the things that I was writing down, the lyrics that I was writing, every single thing that I wrote eventually came true. Eventually came true. Now, I got off topic to get on topic. And the reason why I'm saying a lot of this is because y'all already know, if y'all been here with me, y'all already know how I feel about the music industry. And I grew up a fan of hip hop. I love hip hop. I'm from the Bronx. You know what I mean? I idolized every rapper. I was a hip hop fanatic. Not so much anymore, but I was. And I'm saying all this to say that it is my belief that hip hop, and y'all follow Craig T. Lewis, The Truth About Hip Hop. It's called EX Ministries. Craig G. Lewis, or Craig T. Lewis. I think it's Craig G. Lewis. He's a minister out of Texas, and his videos are the ones who woke me up to this demon called hip hop, right? But I'm saying this not just from his videos. The reason why his videos resonated and it sat within my spirit is because I knew it to be true, because I knew that I was possessed by the spirit of hip hop. I'm going to tell y'all how, and I'm going to tell y'all why. Outside of the Dub City, you know, them listening to my music. Most of the raps that I would write, my greatest raps, my greatest lyrics would come to me in my sleep. I would be in a dream state and I would be dreaming and the music would come to me in a dream and I would wake up and I would write the music down and I would go back to sleep. There was times when I woke up and I didn't remember writing the shit that I wrote. And I wake up, it's nighttime. So if I was in a box, I couldn't control my light and turn my light on. Most of it was in the box when I was in solitary confinement. And I wake up in the morning and I'll have papers scribble across my desk or under my bed. Sometimes I used to keep a notepad under my bunk and I'll scribble and go back. I'll wake up and I'll have words scribbled across the page this way, across the page this way, all kinds of ways that I don't remember writing. And sometimes I would have to write the melody. For instance, I'll put Go Shorty, It's Your Birthday, the 50 Cent songs. We're gonna party like it's your birthday. We're gonna sip a Bacardi like. So if I wrote rap like In the Club by 50 Cent, then I would know the melody. So I would write the melody and I would write all these lyrics. I would wake up in the morning and half remember writing any of the shit that I wrote. I would wake up in the morning half remembering half the shit that I wrote. And those would be my best songs. I'm not making this shit up. Those would be my best songs. Now I know some of y'all, especially if you're creative and you're an artist, you're like, well, I get songs in my dream too. Well, I get inspiration too. So what's the big deal? The big deal was, even though some of the lyrics that I wrote hadn't came to pass yet, a lot of it was connected to my spirit because it was based upon the death and the destruction that I was causing in these communities. So because I was disseminating a lot of death and destruction, because I was propagating a lot of death and destruction, these demons and these spirits was coming to me and giving me more shit to talk about. And I began to prophesize death and destruction. I began to choreograph multitudes of hits and reasons for murdering and unaliving people, and most of it came true. I'm talking about, I'm not gonna give it all up because it's gonna be in the video, but like I said, I have a video of me and Harrell. It's a live video. You can hear my lyrics, and I'm talking about a person's brother being tricked to the back of a building to be murdered. And this actually happened. This actually happened, y'all. And people from the neighborhood know exactly what I'm talking about. They know exactly what I'm talking about. And I had these lyrics wrote probably back in 2001, 2, and 3 when I was in the level 5 Supermax. So I was in Northern. Northern out in Connecticut is the same as ADX in the federal system, the exact same prison. It's shaped like a pentagram. I mean, a hexagram, like this. You see the hexagram? They're shaped like a hexagram, and the CO bubble is in the middle right here, and the unit is a hexagram. It's the exact same design as ADX. When I was in solitary confinement for them 3 years, I came up with some of these lyrics. And when I got out of prison in 2006, a lot of these things actually took place. When I was in prison in 1998, 1997, I wrote some lyrics about me taking over my neighborhood, just rapping about it. And I actually did everything that I rapped about. Not saying consciously, like, oh, I'm gonna, no, subconsciously, on a subconscious soul level, I was already programmed. The spirits already put it in me for what I was to do and what was to happen. And he just enacted what was already in my spirit to act. You got to think of what inspiration is. What is inspiration? Google where inspiration comes from. It is inspiration, a spirit within you. It's what you get inspired. A muse, when they say muse, which is what music comes from, the muses are a group of sisters. I don't know if it's 3 or 9 of them. I think it's 9. Yeah, because it's 3 sirens, right? And then there's 3 muses. Well, the muses are, in Greek mythology, they inspire. To inspire means they put their spirit within a human being to have them create. That's what a muse is. That's what music is. That's where the term music comes from. I'm not making this up. this ain't even a conspiracy. It's true. The term music comes from the Greek term muse. So Google or research what a muse is and know that this is where the term music comes from. So don't think for one second that music does not inspire or you can't be inspired to create your reality because you're not just making music. Some of us are creating a reality through these lyrics. And I was one of them. And it wasn't meant for me to do that. No matter how bad I tried or how bad I wanted to, it wasn't meant for me to do that. So, yeah, and this is real. I'm not, I'm not the disgruntled, should have been a rapper type of person. It's not that. I'm just showing y'all what happens. And when they call somebody a musical genius, as I already said in other lives, Google where the term genius come from. That's from Socrates. Socrates is the one who coined that term, a genius. What is a genius? A genius is a Gen, jin, us, a genie in us. That's what a genius is. And when Socrates, who was coined the frame genius, Google who Socrates is. Y'all want to know who Socrates is? He is a Greek philosopher, scientist, one of the greatest minds, so they say, known to man. But guess what, y'all? He also admits to having a spirit, that he's not smart, that is not his philosophies. This is the demon that he summons who gives him the knowledge to be a genius. He is a genius because he has a genie who gives him this knowledge. So that's when the term genius comes from. So always, hey Marlo, always be mindful when you hear these people say, "Oh, he's a musical genius." Be mindful. Be mindful when you hear people like DMX wife says, "Hey, when I'm talking to Earl, I don't deal with DMX. DMX is for y'all. I'm with Earl. That's who I was speaking to. And as soon as DMX took over, I left because I don't talk to him. I deal with Earl. Don't think for one second that these people, these elite, don't know what they're saying. Don't think for one second when they say, oh, she was fighting her demons, that they're just talking, that they're just using these terms. They're actually speaking to one another. It's not even coded, it's blatantly. We think that is, oh, it's not even coded no more. But what happens is because our minds are trained to, Amy Winehouse fighting her demons or DMX die fighting his demons, because our minds is trained that the demons is just his drug addiction and not an actual entity or spirit. We take it easy. We take it lightly when they say that. Oh, he died fighting his demons. No, he really did unalive fighting his demons, real demons. And then when you listen to his music and you see that he's Damien and he's is a spirit talking to him, and he got these lyrics where he's two people, one a demonic and one his normal self, and he's fighting with his normal self. We think that these is just lyrics, and we don't understand or understand that he's actually telling you what's going on. But I'm the conspiracy theorist. Some of this shit don't be conspiracy, y'all. All you have to do is open your third eye and ask the Most High Creator to fill you overflowing with love and light and discernment, and you'll be able to see. I, you, it's not even about seeing; it's about being blind. I think we all see. Some of us is just blind to what we see. Do you understand what I'm saying? We let these people massage our brains and train our minds into not hearing what we heard because they don't even hide it now. The kid XXX to Texion, I can't even fully spell his name, but triple stages of darkness. Yeah, we come back through the triple stages of darkness as babies. You know what I'm saying? But to be alive and still be in the triple stages of darkness is insane. It's insane, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And this is what my channel is about. I get into the street stuff and the music stuff just to show y'all what's really going on down here. Deaf, dumb, and blind. I go through those phases just to show y'all what's going on down here. You know what I'm saying? And oh, it's real. It's real. And as soon as I get this computer, I keep saying it because man, I have a lot going on. I'll share a lot of it with y'all when we get later down the line. I know there's a lot of evil eyes and people who don't wish me well, so I don't share a lot of things that's going on, but I will once these things are fulfilled. But once I get this computer, oh, it's on like popcorn, y'all. It's on like popcorn. I got two phones right now, and they're both filled. The CapCut and the iMovie, all of those editing things, they're just filled to capacity. And every time I try to load a video, because it's music and I'm putting up videos, they strike a lot of the stuff. So I have to do a lot of re-editing, and then sometimes I'll build a whole video. I mean, a whole, yeah, video that I'm putting out. I'll build my whole video around a video or a lyric or artist. And when I'm unable to use it, it kind of devalues the whole video. And I know a lot of the stuff that the videos, not my lives, but my videos, a lot of the videos that I put out, they're kind of choppy, and that's because I get frustrated after a while. I be working on them things a minimum of 3 days. Some of them take weeks, and it could only be a 20-minute video, and it took me a week. It's a whole process. I gotta, when you uploaded it to change one thing, if it's a 30-minute video, you have to upload the whole 30-minute video to change one thing. And then you might do it and it still might not be right. And then you gotta go do it again. And then after you spent 3, 4 days doing this tedious task, you upload it, and then it tells you there's 5 things you can't use. And then you have to figure out how to edit it without messing up the video. So then I just get frustrated. But once I get a computer, so they say it's going to be easy. Now, mind you, I'm not tech savvy at all. I'm still learning how to send emails. So, I'm learning on my own. I'm having my own crash course. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a perfectionist too. So it's like kind of sort of. So it's like I just don't want to put out anything. But once I get this computer, it's on like popcorn. Yeah, I promise you. I promise you. Even these lives are gonna be different, because then I'll be able to have like a split screen, and I'll be able to have information up there, and I'll be able to highlight and show things, and then plug in other videos while I'm talking and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So just be patient with me. It's only been 60 days I've been up here. You know what I mean? So I'm learning and growing. As I learn and grow, we're gonna learn and grow together. For real. But so yeah, I wasn't meant to be in the music industry. It wasn't in my spirit to do that. That was not my journey. That was not my path. My path. And had I even entertained it somewhat, I would have had way more karma than I got for the shit that I did. And Lord knows I don't need no more karma. And that's why they kept not letting me get my lyrics right or get on beat right. My angels was around me like, boy, mm-mm. Nah, that's what my angels was doing. They was keeping me from hearing the beat. I wasn't hearing the beat right. The engineer couldn't fit me in right, and everything kept going wrong because they was like, no, 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 no. Make up something on the scene right now and just be lyrical. You talking about all that death and destruction? We not gonna allow you to do that. We not gonna allow you to put that in the universe. You know what I mean? And I ain't never read this nowhere, but it's my belief too that when it comes to ascension, right? When it comes to physically and spiritually ascending, to leaving this physical realm, the more we attach ourselves to and the more of our imprint we leave down here, it's a piece of our spirit. Me talking on this YouTube right here, for y'all to be able to watch this later, is a piece of my spirit, if y'all understand that. This is why, and I never read this nowhere, this is just my belief. This is why Hollywood stars get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. What they're actually saying is the fallen angels or the fallen stars, if you read any theology, then you'll know that stars are likened to angels. They're interchangeable. A star is an angel, right? So a lot of these fallen angels or a lot of these fallen stars are stuck here in this third dimension, right? In order to ascend, you have to become light. That's what a sin is. That's what flesh is. Flesh is physical, it's hard, it's dense. So we're in this third density, right? So in order to ascend and leave this third density, you have to become light. You have to not attach yourself to things, and it's do your due diligence not to leave your impression too hard on this physical earth, because you'll leave a piece of yourself. So I'm fully aware that every time I get on these videos and I'm talking, I'm leaving a piece of my spirit down here. However, if it's vibrational and it's on love and light, and I leave my imprint down here, and you guys or somebody is reminded of who you are, and it ignites the God in you, and it strengthens your faith and your belief in the Most High, or your God, or whatever you call it, right? Then even though when I'm leaving my imprint, it's a positive imprint. So it's light, it's not heavy, if that makes any sense. So if I would have been down here rapping, I would have been talking all of this death. This death would have been going into people's ears and into people's spirit. I would have been causing people to want to be a gangster, wanting to be a thug, wanting to unalive, wanting to get revenge for unaliving. I would have been the propagator of this drill, death, and destruction. I would have been, right? So the lighter you are down here, the least you leave of yourself, especially if it's in a bad way, the lighter you become, and you can ascend, and you can get past the firmament or the guards at the gate to be a spirit, or to be a light being, or a light angel, an ascended master, so you could come back here to pull more out, to pull others out as well. Y'all understand? So that's why I wasn't meant to do that. I was meant to do this. This is what I was meant to do. This is what I was created to do. Come on, Tommy. You trying to bag people on my page? Leave my beautiful sisters alone, man. Oh my God, Tommy, thank you. But yeah, y'all. So this is what I was put here to do. This is my purpose. You know what I'm saying? To remind all of us light beings, all of us star seeds, all of us children in Christ, all of us children of the Most High Creator, all of us chosen ones, whether you want to call yourself Israelites, Christians, Muslim, Muslims, whatever it is. This is what I'm here to do, y'all. This is my purpose, and this is why I'm good at it. This is why I shine, and I'm not this by no means am I being proud or boastful or nothing. I'm just saying, like, this be the Holy Spirit. Sometimes I start going, and it don't even be me talking. I swear it don't be me talking. It be my words. It be my voice, but it be something that I learned that I don't even remember I learned. You know what I mean? But that's nothing but the Most High. That's nothing but the Creator. I don't stumble and stammer like I used to when I was trying to be a rapper. You know what I mean? I wasn't meant to be Dipset. You know how many people out in Connecticut, when they see me, they just think they hear something about Jim Jones and they be like, man, did you hear about this? Man, I'm not Dipset. I'm not that. I'm not them. I'm not them. I'm not them. That's not me. I wasn't meant to be that. You understand what I'm saying? I'm happy. I'm blessed, elated that is because, I mean, granted, I don't think I would have been able to turn back around either. And the Most High, and they knew that about me. I have a one track mind. I'm passionate about what I'm doing. I become what I'm doing. I can only do one thing at one time. I'm one track minded, y'all. I'm being honest. Whatever I do, I get it meshed in it. So my angels, my ancestors, those who vibrate in love and light, all of the light beings and the brothers who pulled me out and gave me my spiritual awakening, they all knew. There was a collective consciousness that knew this brother cannot go do that, because if I would have never been able to get pulled out. I had to continuously go to prison and face a life sentence being a drug dealer and a gangbanger. I wouldn't have never stopped on my own. I was praying, meditating. I had a pocket full of crystals, y'all. I was still running around with my crystals. I was in hotel rooms out in Pennsylvania or out in Connecticut or out in Massachusetts where I had these drug areas, these drug spots, right? I would deliver the drugs, have a hotel room, go in the bathroom, and while I got drug addicts and drug dealers waiting to buy drugs, my security with a pistol, I'm going into the bathroom to pray. I'm going in the bathroom to pray. Things that get too hectic, I go get a whole nother room by myself to go meditate. But I'm still selling drugs. And I know what I knew. I seen demons leave people. I seen demons enter people. I've cast them out. I've broken spells. So I know what I have works. I know what I'm doing is of love and light because I seen it actually works. And I was still selling drugs. I'm still selling drugs, y'all, and I'm telling myself, well, you're not pimping women no more. You're not, pew pewing people. You're not robbing people. You're not kidnapping people. You just selling a little drugs to take care of your family and to get money so you can go and give it all to the world. You can go. That was my stinking thinking. I really believed that I wasn't doing. I knew that I was doing wrong. But what I'm saying is, I was picking the lesser of two evils, and I would have been stuck in that mind state, physically, mentally, and spiritually, as long as they didn't put handcuffs on me, blocking my blessings, lying to myself, lying to myself. That's exactly what I was doing. That's exactly what I was doing. A dog chasing its own tail with all the good intentions in the world. Lord, just let me get the money and I could just put my aunt in the house and so all my brothers and sisters could have a place. Let me get all this money and I'm gonna go pass out turkeys. I'm gonna go back to the homeless and hospitality center and pass out food. I'm gonna go back to the soup kitchen and get all these boxes of potato chips. And I was doing some of those things, but I still was a dog chasing his tail because I was just disseminating death, even though I wasn't physically harming nobody, but I was selling people drugs. You understand? I had the mother who sold my favorite leather jacket to get high. We had the family members that stole steaks out of the freezers, and we looking for the steaks, and my grandmother looking for the ribs and the steak is gone. I, I was that child. I know what it was like to lose your video game or your favorite leather jacket because your mom and your family members are getting high on crack or heroin. I was that child, and I despised the drug dealer when I was a child. But as I got into the lifestyle, in my rotten mind, I thought that I was no different from them because I would give the drugs away or because I was doing good deeds, that I wasn't the same. So I would have been stuck in that mind frame. So my angels knew if he makes it in this rap game, if he becomes a rapper, we're never gonna be able to pull him out. And it's the truth. I would have did so much harm. Yeah, I would have had money and took care of people, but the harm that I would have did would have completely outweighed the good that I did. I was doing that in the streets. Even though I was getting money and taking care of my family, but how many people families was I taking from? How many people was I hurting? Right? And the minute I seen something that I wanted, I took it with no regard for the person that I was taking it from. Because I was justifying it. Well, he in the streets. You know what I'm saying? So he's fair game. I didn't think about his children. I didn't think about his family. I didn't think about his life. I didn't think about none of that. All I knew was what I wanted to further what I was doing, to take care of who I was taking care of. Stinking thinking. So I would have never been able, if it took me 38 years to wash bucks, gang banging, crack dealing, and all the negative shit from the streets. If it took me 38 years to get that off, had I been rapping, I would still be rapping at 58. At 58. I'll be 47 right now talking about my new mixtape. If I would have been alive, if I wouldn't have been in ADX next to Rod Diggs. You know what I'm saying? If I was lucky, I would have been doing a bunch of life sentences where I had a chance to repent if I was lucky. You know what I'm saying? I might have not had to even have gotten a chance to repent. You either in or you out. Ain't no in between. Right. Look at Hell Rel. Because you put yourself in a box. It wasn't no accident. None of it was. I don't know if you was here earlier when I was talking about, I had an astral projection and I was with his mother the day she passed away. We met on the spiritual realm. We met on the stoop of my building that we was raised in. And she told me to bring her son to Christ. She told me to get him out of what he going through. She told me she was proud of me. And I know it was her. I knew it was her. I knew that it wasn't no dream. It was an astral projection. I've only done that twice in my life, but that was definitely one of the times. And when I called my big brother, my spiritual advisor, I didn't lead him in no way. I just told him the dream that I had, the dream that I had. And he told me, he said, man, y'all met on the astral plane. Y'all both was on probably not fourth dimensional Weeks Avenue because I don't think Earth is in the fourth dimension, but if we in the third dimension, we was probably on 3.1 Weeks Avenue or 3.1 or 3.2 Weeks Avenue. and we both went there. I was sleeping, and she was in a coma at the time. And she told me, she said she was proud of me. That's what she said. She said, Charlie, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. You gave your life to Christ, and I want you to lead Darrell, because that's what she called him. She ain't call him Rel. She called him Darrell. I want you to lead Darrell to Christ. He's going to listen to you. And we far from it right now. You know what I'm saying? Especially, with me putting them all over the internet and everything. But, to answer the question, yeah, I still, would I ever talk to him? If he called me right now, I would talk to him. We're not going to talk about rap or money, nothing like that. I just hope he want to change. And we could, as I'm growing and changing, we can grow and change together, because that's the only way we would ever be able to be friends. If he stays in the state that he's in, we will never be able to be friends, because what's attached to him is going to want to unalive me bad, because that's what was happening. It's going to want to unalive me. It's going to hate my light. It's going to despise everything that I am. And I can see who he is. And they don't like when you can see them. They don't like when you can see them. Oh, they don't like it. They despise it. And you chosen ones know, right? When you come in and people just don't like you, that don't even know you, right? You know, when everybody, I was the kid, everybody throwing snowballs, young one snowball, hit the window and the teacher come out and you the only one going suspension, right? They know who you are. They know who you are. And when you can see them, ooh, oh, it's on. You can't unsee it. When you see them, you can't unsee them. So yeah, I would still be his friend. I find it impossible to hold grudges. And I know people, you know what I'm saying, they see me and they be like, the life that I lived and the way I used to be, even then, I didn't hold grudges. I was just, very impulsive. I had a very impulsive spirit. So if I was angered, I'll do anything in that particular moment. But once the moment was over, it was over. And once I begin to learn that I was that way, and I begin to realize that that's what goes on with me, I stopped taking things personal, and I would give myself time to get over it, opposed to doing something, regretting what I did, and then having to get over it. So it was a longer process. First, I had to do something, regret what I did, and then forgive the person, and then get over it. When now, the minute the insult or the whatever, the wrong happens, I don't let it sting as much. I let it dissipates, just like a slap. When you get slapped, the sting, the minute the sting goes, I already moved on. That's what the whole turning the other cheek is. It's not to be weak or to let somebody, harm you and you not fight them back, which is what we're trained, right? um it's not about that. It's about, one, knowing, seeing what's connected to the person, and understanding, is it really the person, or is it the entity or the energy that's connected to the person that made the person slap you, right? That's one. And two, the minute the sting is gone, the slap is gone. Now, if you sit and harp and harbor the slap, or what you deemed as disrespect, or the little demon sitting on your shoulder telling you, you gonna let him do that to you, or you gonna let him get away with that? Oh, he think you soft, or he think you this, or he think you that. So now the slap been gone, the sting is gone, but pride and ego sitting over here with this demon. So you got pride over here, you got ego over here, and then you got this lying spirit, this manipulating spirit. Oh, oh man, you gonna let him do that? Everybody seen him do that to you. You gonna let him do that? You know? Once you figure that out, and this ain't gotta be, no street stuff when it comes to somebody assaulting you. It could be in terms of a family member, your mother, your children, your whoever. You know what I'm saying? Allow them to be children in spirit. Allow them to be children in Christ. Allow them to be children in the world. And allow them to be who they are. It's not what they do, it's your response or your reaction to what they do. That's the key to everything that happens down here on this third dimension. It's not what happens, it's your reaction and your response, how you react and how you take what happened. Yes, the good part. of you defeating evil once you surrendered. Yes, you take the sting away. You take the hurt out of something that is meant to hurt you. When you take the sting out of it, it's like a dull blade. It ain't gonna chop your arm off. It might. It's the initial hit is gonna hurt, but it ain't gonna chop your arm off because you dulled the blade. The blade is dull. You know what I'm saying? The blade is dull. I cannot hold grudges no more. I never really did. I never really did, to be honest. But now it's just like I allow people to be who they are, man. And that's how you can love anybody. When you allow people to be who they are, that's how you're able to love somebody who don't love you. That's how you're able to not wish harm on somebody who constantly wish harm on you. That's how you learn not to steal from those who just because they stole from you or misuse people because they misuse you. The only thing I do is, and it's not because I'm upset or I'm mad or I don't like the person anymore, is I create the distance. It's because I need my energy. I need to stay vibrating on love and light. Yeah, I could say love and light mantras in my head as I'm going through a tough patch. If y'all understand what I'm saying. There's techniques that I could do to waver or to deflect the negative energy or entity that comes off another human being. So when I distance myself from the human being, it's not that I'm mad. When don't pick up the phone for you, it's not that I'm mad at you or I don't love you or I don't fuck with you. It's just that I can't allow your energy in because I don't have the energy. I might be in a prayer, I might be in a meditation, I might be fixing my blood pressure. I might allow my blood pressure to creep back in. I might allow this cholesterol. I'm saying like I'm owning it. I cancel that, but I might got something going on where I might need my energy, my love and light energy. So because you're an emotional vampire, or because what's connected to you needs the energy and the sources to drain from, I have to disconnect myself. I'm not mad at you though. I still love you, but I just have to keep you at bay because I got shit to do. I got children, you know? I got things going on. I got people who need my energy, who need my nurturing and my love and my energy. And that goes for everybody, even my children. Oh, you got an attitude or you upset? All right. You know where I'm at when you're ready to talk or you ready to be my friend again? You know where I'm at. You know where I'm at. I go through it with them too, y'all. When you've been in prison as much as I've been in prison, and you're a father of daughters, all fathers know when you have daughters, if you have a wife or a girlfriend, you have a whole nother wife or a girlfriend. You have another relationship. You have a whole nother relationship. So because I have daughters and I haven't been in their lives a lot because I've been in prison a lot. Oh man, y'all think for 1 second, man, me and these girls go at it. I got almost my oldest is about to be 30, so she's not a little girl. She's still a little baby to me, but she's almost 30. But man, I go, man, but you know what I do? They'll tell you, I I lock it down. And when they're ready to talk, they'll call, "Hey dad," and then we go back to normal until we're not. That's just me though. That's just me. And you have to be that way. I have a friend, a female. She's a lot older than me. She's in her 60s. So her children are like my age. And she allowed some things to happen to her daughter when her daughter was younger. And yes, she was spiritually, as an adult and a parent and a human being, she was completely wrong. But I tell this friend, right? She'll get paid, and she gives her daughter and her daughter children all her money. I've seen her do it. She'll get a check and give them the whole check, or she'll get a check after she pay her bills. She'll tell me, "Oh, I only got about $200 left over," and her daughter will call and be like, "Oh, the kids want to go to Chili's." And she'll go spend the last of her money, withdraw all her money, take them all to Chili's. And the minute her daughter get upset with her, "You never been there. You never been a good mom." You suck as a grandparent, and she'll go, and this lady, she'll be trembling, her hand will be trembling, and she'll be apologizing, and she'll go bust her hump to go back to work to get another check. And as soon as she get a check, she's racing 45 minutes away to go spend all her money on her daughter and her children. And the minute she says no, or the minute she's late, you ain't never been there. You're a horrible mom. You're a horrible grandparent. And I tell my friend all the time, I said, I don't care how much of your money, your energy, your love, time, and energy you give that woman, she is constantly going to revert back to the little girl that she was when you allowed her to be hurt. And she's going to channel that hurt and that anger to hurt you back. And you're going to continue in the cycle of hurt until she heals herself and forgives herself, and you heal yourself and love yourself and heal yourself and forgive yourself. And then y'all finally can genuinely love each other and heal with each other. Outside of that, you ain't never gonna have no money to retire. You're never gonna have the home that you want. You're never gonna have the things that you want because you're gonna spend all your time and energy trying to put a band-aid over something that needs stitches. Still grown. My friend, she's like 60 something. The daughter that I'm speaking of is, I think, 39. And I think she got pregnant when she was 14. That's a part of the hurt. Why the mom, because one of the mom's boyfriends did some horrific things, and the mom still accepted the boyfriend after that. I know sisters don't. I know because they'd be like, what? How could she? Man, humans do some of the most horrendous and craziest things, right? So because of that, now she's overcompensating as a grandparent and a Johnny come lately as a mother, right? And I watched this exchange, and I don't know how long they're going to be trapped in this. And she has diabetes, she's sick, she's in and out the hospital, she has children, nobody shovels her snow. I come shovel her snow, dig her car out. And the minute her son needs the car to drive 4 states away, she offers up the car. She does whatever these children want because she wasn't there. I refuse to be in that state. My children know the minute oh, dad, you was never there, and they hang up the phone on me. When you're ready to talk again, we'll talk. I reach out, I try, I'll do what I can, but I am never gonna give my last energy, life fluid, and blood to fix something that I can't fix. I can't fix what happened then. I can't. Only thing I could do is love you now and do my best. I pray and meditate because that's where it's gonna happen. Physically, when, oh, dad, I need, and I do, and then they do some ungrateful stuff and then throw back in my face what I haven't done, I fall back. I go back to praying and meditating, and then they come back around and we be good for a while. And then when they ask, I say no. But no, because the last time I did, you didn't even say thank you. You didn't appreciate it. But you're my dad. Yeah, I'm your dad, but I'm not your slave. I'm not your human punching bag. That's not what a dad is. That's not what a mom is. That's not what a wife is. That's not what a husband is. That's not what a family member is. That's not what a friend is. You are not somebody's emotional tissue and spiritual punching bag. That's not what you are. That's not what you are. And you're not going to break out of that rut until you love yourself and heal yourself and forgive yourself for the role you played or didn't play in someone's hurt or someone's life. No way. No way, shape, form, or fashion can you do it. No way. You have to. You have to tell them no. No is one of the best things you can tell a human being, not just your children, other human beings. No is a good thing. Man, you know how no strengthen me. No makes you a man or makes you a woman. It makes you responsible. It makes you appreciative, right? Because if you could walk in the bank and just take money out the bank, would you be working? How many of us have a job if we could just walk in the bank or walk in Walmart and grab what we want or go to the gas pump and just put gas in our car? Yeah, it's discipline. No is a fundamental of discipline. No, denial. You deny yourself fried chicken, you're gonna lose weight. You deny yourself food after 7 o'clock at night, you're gonna lose weight. You deny yourself certain desires, especially when you're praying and meditating and fasting. Oof, you know how powerful it is to deny? Denying is good. That it builds character. That's why poor people have the most character, right? Don't we have the most character, y'all? Come on, man. We used to take a milk crate, a cardboard, and some shopper cart wheels and make a go kart. Put it in the chat if you remember go karts, beam shooters and slingshots, and man, we was so innovative because we was poor. No, we didn't have, so we figured it out. It make you use your mind. It makes you figure things out, and then when you do get a bit of something, you appreciate it. Man, you appreciate it. I got these little Beat headphones. People's like, man, I got people out. I don't even know where they at right now. Where my headphones at? Man, I got these little $300 Beat headphones. Somebody brought for me. You think I'm gonna misplace them? No, no. People like, oh, you so good with keeping things because I'm appreciative of it. I don't idolize it. You know what I mean? It's not my world. Nice things, but I do know when I have it, and I do know how to appreciate it. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why when somebody gives me something or do something for me, man, I appreciate it. They be like, man, you still talking about when I did this for you? Yeah, I'm still talking about it. I'm still appreciative. Because I know and understand, especially someone who both parents wasn't there. I didn't have my parents. So I know and understand when somebody do something to you, you are supposed to appreciate that. When you don't have a mother and a father present, it shows you as a human being if you're paying attention and you use life as a school and a lesson and a blessing instead of something to be miserable about or a point to say woe is me, right? So I take that and I say, man, if we know and understand that there are parents, well, there are people who give birth to other human beings who that are not responsible or wasn't there for that particular child, then those people, if they're not the Debbie Downers and use it as a reason to be down and say, "Oh, nobody was there for me," if one is wise and use it as a focal point, then you say to yourself, "Man, don't nobody have to do nothing for you. If my own parents didn't do for me, nobody don't have to do nothing for you." So you become appreciative when somebody does something for you. I had my parents, but I had a friend who mom was an addict and was so foul that I held my friend down and went against my parents to keep her secret safe. I get it. And then you got people, I have an individual who's close to my life who had a mother and a father, but they never hugged. They never showed each other love. They don't tell each other they love them. The brothers and sisters don't speak to each other. They not tight. Here we is, right? I got five brothers and a sister, and our grandmother, for the most part, raised us. And every Sunday, we're all on a group chat. When there's a birthday, holiday, we may not got a bunch of aunts and uncles on my mother's side, but my core group, my brothers and my sister, we like this. Rock solid. Rock solid. And that one grandmother was better than some people who had two parents. And I'm saying that. That one grandmother, my grandmother, raised five boys. She didn't raise my sister, but she raised those five boys. And she was a better parent and she gave us more love. That one person that had to spread it through six people, never mind her two daughters who was in the street smoking crack, running the streets. They clean now. But I've seen people who have a mother and a father and don't experience hugs, don't tell each other they love each other, didn't have a Christmas, had a mother and a father, they never had a Christmas tree. They just gave them the gifts. They didn't know what it was like. And we knew what it was like. We had piles of gifts, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 gifts, each child from that one grandmother. And the Christmas tree, even though it's pagan, I know, come on, my woke people, don't attack me for this. But the thing of Christmas, my grandmother would get, we had a nice tree too. And I became like that. My baby mom would be like, boy, why you went and bought that $700 tree, that $600 tree? You know, the ones that got the color coded bars and you put the bars and they all color coded. You know what I'm talking about, them real good trees. Why? Because my grandmother was festive. Christmas, Thanksgiving, any kind of holiday, she was a festive person. So we had the biggest, nicest tree with all the ornaments in the world, and it was a theme. And I'm still that way to this day when it comes to decorating a Christmas tree. To the point where my baby mother family used to come in the house, they'd be like, "Oh, girl, who did this tree? Is nice." You'd be like, "He did it." They'd be like, "What? He did that tree? We need him to come do our tree. Let him do the tree at the church." I'm a professional Christmas tree decorator. Why? Because when it came time to put the tree out, my grandmother made us pull the tree out. She sat all of the ornaments. We had boxes and boxes and boxes of ornaments. I'm telling you, she was festive, right? And we sat them all down and we color coordinated everything. And all my brothers, we all sat around and we all decorated the tree together. It was a ritual to do that. And then the oldest would go in, which was me, would go in the room with my grandmother when I got of age and wrap every single gift. And the gifts was color coordinated. If we decided the tree was going to be gold and purple, she went and got gold and purple wrappings. If the tree was, green and red, she went and got, you know what I'm saying? But I say that to say, just because somebody got two parents or have what you deem to be a perfect situation, sometimes you can have one wonderful person that could give so much love and light that, you know what I'm saying, it shapes and molds all my brothers and sisters. Like I said, we all know how to cook. Every last one of us can cook a Thanksgiving. Maybe my youngest brother can't cook a Thanksgiving meal, but the rest of us can cook a Thanksgiving meal. Probably was cooking eggs and bacon. We probably was doing breakfast at 5 years old, 6 years old, every last one of us. You know what I mean? But she loved us. She loved us. She made me needy when it came to women and affectionate because man, we got hugs all the time. I had one of them big mama grandmamas. She hugged you and put them big old titties, and that's why we all like big women to this day. My brother's gonna laugh, but we all don't mind no big women. All my brothers. It's her. She come hug you, the big old titties, and give you a big old hug. Come here, boy. You know what I'm saying? So trust and believe. And I'm saying all of this because as I told y'all, I was rotten even as a child. Do y'all know that I didn't even appreciate her when I had her? How about that? Did I love her? Yeah. Was she my world? Yeah. But I didn't appreciate her. I didn't appreciate it till she was gone. I didn't really fully understand what she did until I became an adult, if that makes any sense. When she passed away, I was 21 years old and I was bucks at 21. I was on the run. You know, I was that's when she passed away is when I became the person that I got credit for because I wanted to unalive myself. People didn't know that. When my grandmother passed away, I was on the run for two attempt murders. I was facing 12 years. And I was in New York City. I was in the Bronx. And all of them shootouts that people were saying, oh man, he ran. I'm not glorifying none of that bullshit, but I wanted to die. I wanted to unalive. People don't know that. You know what I'm saying? They thought I was this heroic, crazy nigga, but they didn't know that I wanted to be unalived, you know, in a way, because my grandmother was no longer here. But I say that to say all the years coming up under her, I didn't appreciate her. It wasn't until I became an adult and had responsibilities and bills and stuff like that. Matter of fact, when I got out of prison 3 years ago, right, this was the first time I've had a job that long. And when I began to work 75 hours and stuff like that, and I came home and couldn't wash dishes and didn't want to do nothing, and my laundry sat for a whole couple of weeks, I ain't cooked, I ain't clean. The only thing I could do was eat fast food and get up and go to work because I worked 78 hours this week and then 76 hours the next week. It wasn't until then that I realized, I said, man, this woman used to go to work, leave for work every morning. When we went to school, she was already leaving. So she would leave the house around like 7:30. She wouldn't get back into the house to about 5:30. Never mind 9 to 5, right? So she'd be gone all day, come home from work, and still sometimes go in there and cook, and still sometimes do the laundry, and still sometimes, once in a blue. But she was still active to work so much. And I'm like, and she was overweight. She was a big woman. And I'm like, damn, how the hell does she have the strength? And mind you, to deal with 5 peasy headed boys and me, I'm always in trouble. My little brothers was always in trouble. So she had to take care of the finances, take care of the house, cook sometimes, clean sometimes, because we did all that shit for the most part, and still deal with 5 adolescents. Me. Me. I swear, y'all, my middle child, my 19-year-old, she was born in '07. My grandmother passed away in 2000. And in 7 years, I believe that she may have my grandmother's spirit, man. She's my biggest headache. And she looks like my grandmother, she acts like my grandmother, and she's my biggest headache. And sometimes I feel like that this was her way of like, all right, nigga, now you're gonna have to deal with you and me. Cause man, and she got my grandmother's middle name, my middle child. Man, she's like my grandmother. She acts just like her. And she's my biggest headache, as I was my grandmother's biggest headache. So, it's crazy how life works. But this live has been really dope, big homie. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, beloved. Subscribe. Well, you subscribed if you in the chat. Like and tap my screen, y'all. I appreciate you. Most crash outs want to go. When you're passionate about something, it energizes you. That's a fact. And what I speak about on here is passionate, man. I don't come on here to do nothing but love my people. You know what I'm saying? Remind y'all, because I don't teach nor preach. I feel only thing I'm doing here is reminding you. Even if it's something you didn't know, I believe is already in your soul subconscious, right? That's why you here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm passionate about this. I love it. I love it. I came on here for other purposes in the beginning, but this is definitely my purpose. The first time I got 40,000 views, it didn't go to my head. I said, man, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And then family and friends, they all listen. They don't call me or talk to me about what I'm talking about. But every now and again, when I'm speaking to one of them, I know they be watching, right? So they all be watching. And this is my coming out party. This is my coming out party. A lot of people only know me to be the hoodlum, the street dude, the gangster, the gangbanger, you know what I'm saying? Or the cousin or the brother or the father, which no matter which title you put after me, the front of it was always the street nigga, the gangbanger, because that's what I was. You are what you do. You are what you spend the majority of your time doing. And that's what I spent the majority of my life doing, a bunch of nothing. But I was fortunate enough to be sat down, by the creator and sat in solitary confinement and sat in a box and learned to pray and learned to meditate and got to read books and got to understand myself and others. And then, in 2012, the brothers saw me going through what I was going through spiritually. And after I blew the power in the building for the 4th time, after I blew the car battery for the 5th time, after I blew my phone for the 30th time, he said, come on, brother, we got to clean you up because you got some spirits attached to you. And it's been on like popcorn, y'all. It's been on ever since. You know what I'm saying? And now that I know what's going on down here, I have no choice but to give away what I got or to remind y'all and to show y'all what's really going on down here. You know what I'm saying? For real. But love everybody, but really love those who love you, man, and appreciate all of those who are there for you. Spirit Stretch, what's up, beloved? What's going on, Stretch? Where you been at? Your grandmother was passionate about raising you kids. She was, man. She was. She was. Man, she was a different type of person, man. A different type of soul. You know what I'm saying? A different type of soul. Different. My grandfather was too. They wasn't even together. And it's crazy because I didn't really know my grandfather like that. I seen him a few times, but my grandfather raised my father, but it's not his father. It's hard to explain. My grandfather and my grandmother made my mother, but then this grandfather went out to Connecticut and he found my father's mother and got with her. So my mother's father raised my father, but my father's not my mother's brother, if that makes any sense. But however, anyway, I barely knew this dude, right? My grandfather. Only thing I knew about him was the shit my grandmother used to say. Marlo, I hope you heard what I said. My mother and my father are not brothers and sisters, but they share a sister because my grandfather slept with both of my grandmothers, but my father was already there when he got with my father's mother. Did that make any sense? And then two stepbrother, stepsister, my mother and my father, who has the same sister but they not related, had me. If that makes any sense. I hope y'all follow that. But they're not related at all. They just I have an aunt who's my mother's aunt, my mother's sister, and my father's sister. But my father and my mother is not related. But my grandfather, who's my mother's father, raised my father, right? So my father tells me a lot about my grandfather. And I've heard from other people that he was just like my grandmother, meaning they would give the shirt off their backs. They were the same like that. And they both was festive. They both like to give people parties. They like to celebrate people. They both would have somebody on the couch, somebody on the floor. As long as there was room, you had a place to stay. My grandmother and my grandfather was both like that. But they didn't stay together. My grandfather was a Rolling Stone. He had children everywhere. He was a Rolling Stone, straight Rolling Stone, gambler, hustler, but will give you the shirt off his back. That's the one thing that my grandmother and my grandfather both had in common. So, my brothers and sisters, we got that naturally, all of us. I see it in all of us. Every last one of us. We got, well, one of my brothers, he a little different. Kinda, sorta. When it comes to us though, nah, he ain't like that with us. Maybe other people. You know what I'm saying? He's sort of a gigolo in his own little ways and stuff like that. But I say that to say I know where my soul come from. I know where my light come from. You know what I mean? I got it naturally through both grandparents. You know what I'm saying? And I pay attention to that. Why? Because when you are the black sheep and you are the outcast in your family, you may not be like your moms and your father. You may not be like them. You may be completely different from your mother and your father. But if you knew your history and you knew your grandfather and your grandmother, you might be just like your grandmother or your grandfather or your great grandmother or your great grandfather. If you're kind, if you're gentle, if you're intuitive, right? You may have not got that from your parents. It might skip a generation. You know what I'm saying? So it's always to be keen about that. So I say that to say, even in your children, you may have 4 children or 3 children or 2 children. One of them may be cut from your cloth. Y'all might be from the same monad. Y'all might be from the same spirit. You know what I mean? It ain't about having favorites or nothing like that. But that's how you begin to see why one child is one way and one child, y'all just ain't never gonna click. You have to understand that. And I'm using children and parents as an example because those are the people that you have to love. Those are the people that you're supposed to love, right? So when you start to understand things spiritually and understand soul groups and kindred spirits, then you'll be able to see why you don't click with a certain parent or a certain child or a sibling or maybe your whole family. Maybe your whole family. You may be placed in your mother's family, because you don't know your father, and then you find out years later who your father's people is and your kin is, and you're just like them. So now you're like, damn, I see why I ain't nothing like these people. This ain't they my blood family, but we don't share the same spirit. If y'all understand what I'm saying. You might not share the same spirit with them people. They may not be your kindred spirit. Y'all may not be from the same monad. And you may have been born into that particular family for a reason, for a purpose. Past life karma, generational curse, or to break a generational curse. You might have all your light from your dad's side, for example, but you might be placed in your mother's family to break a generational curse. You may be there to teach them to be more like you, if you understand what I'm saying, to break their generational curse of alcoholism or lying or deceit or darkness or whatever they are upon. You might be there to break the generational curse, or you might be put there to break you. You might be full of love and light, right? You might be a chosen one born into that family, and they may have treated you horribly your entire life. You know what I'm saying? But when you crawl up out of that and realize who you are, then you understand, okay, I was placed there, they was placed there to keep me down or to dim my light. So I know why I was there, and I know why they are who they are, and still love them for who they are. But you have to understand what you're there for and what your purpose is, and who your family is, and who your kindred spirit is, and stop wasting your energy on people you feel you have to give it to because you don't. It's not your responsibility. Love them. Yes, you're supposed to love them. You're supposed to understand who they are and what they are. But what you can't do is deplete your natural life source and love, light, healing energy. It's like Christ said, don't throw your pearls among swine, lest they trample them and spite you. Your pearls could be love, your pearls could be light, your pearls could be money, your pearls could be guidance, love, anything of significance, but you're casting it to swine. And they're just gonna trample over it. They're gonna walk all over you, walk all over it, unappreciative of what you give. And it says, do not cast your pearls among swine, lest they trample them, right? Meaning misuse them or don't care or mishandle them, and then spite you. Mean you helping them and they still hate you. They still despise you. They still giving you the evil eye. They're still plotting on your downfall. They're still talking about you. No matter how much you dump into them, they're an empty vessel. They're a bottomless cup. You're just gonna pour, 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 pour till there's no more. You have to realize that. And this goes for anybody. This goes for anybody. Love them, but love yourself more. Love yourself more. You have to, because you only got one you. You only got one you. And if they're not vibrating high, they're not going to be able to stand at the gate and get you in. They're not going to be there to stand at the gate and get you in. They can't pull you up. They're not going to be able to. I'm talking to spiritual, not physically. Because physically, you're going to be all right, chosen one. You know, you full of love and light, beautiful soul. You're going to be all right. But you got to keep what you got. You know what I'm saying? Don't cast it amongst swine. Give it to those who need. Give to the needy and not the greedy. You remember that saying? Give to the needy and not the greedy. For real. Like my friend, and I watch her, and oh, she's a beautiful soul now. You know what I mean? You know, whatever she went through with her daughter, and she allowed things to happen to her daughter. You know, what we perceive to be lust, people perceive love. They say love is because that's her favorite line. Oh, love will make you do. You wasn't in love, you was in lust. But I'm gonna say this, say that to say this. You know, those romantic relationships, a romantic relationship, to share yourself in that way with another human being is one of the most spiritualist things we can do in this third dimension, in this density. It is the most openness and sharingness and connectedness that you can experience down here. And when we do those things, man, it'll make some people sick and drunk to the point where she allowed things that she shouldn't have allowed due to her connection to another human being lustfully. And it caused her to neglect her child. And she's paying for it. She's changed, she's given her life to God, but she still doesn't realize that she's never going to be able to heal that child. That child has to heal itself. That child has to forgive itself. That child has to go and have the spirit of molestation and adultery and all of those things cast out. She has to. You know what I'm saying? And I don't judge. I'm a spiritual detective. That's all I tell you that all the time. I don't be judging people. You know what I'm saying? It's just I'm like when a crime scene investigator come on the crime scene, that's me. When I come on the crime scene, I see what's going on. I look at it physically, mentally, and spiritually. Physically, I look and I see, okay, she got 6 kids. Okay, she's mad at her mom for some reason. I look at all the physical things about her. Okay, she's mad at her mom. She got 6 children. None of the dads is here. All right. She's 38, but she has a 24-year-old. You know what I'm saying? I started doing the homework. All right, so she was 14. Okay. I see what's going on. That's the physical aspect. Then I look at it mentally, what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And I begin to give her a mental diagnosis, and then the thing that wraps it all up spiritually, I see what's going on spiritually. All right, she sleeps all day. She got garbage bags over her window because she don't want the sun to come in the morning. Check. She don't drink water. Okay, check. She's up all night. Check. I mentioned God. Oh, I don't believe it. Oh, check, check, and more check. And she don't like me for no reason. Just don't like me. Oh, why you got him here? Check, check, check. I already know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I already know what's going on. And then my friend, oh, you think everything is a devil and everything is demons. It's not everything, it's not everything. Man, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it ain't a dog. It ain't a dog. It ain't a dog. It is attachment. It's not love. That's right. It is attachment. And um whether we love is the highest form of understanding. Oh my goodness. Tommy, you've been sitting here and you've been giving little dishes and dashes of your wisdom in here. That one right there. Woo, you right on time with that one. That's right. Love is the highest form of understanding. I say that all the time. I say that all the time. That's what I said. Even when somebody punch you in the eye or they being mean and they being still love them. Still love them because you have to overstand and understand what's going on here. Still love them. But know that it's not you can't it's not your cross to bear. You can't heal that person. You can't fix that person. You can't fix what you may have done in the past or didn't do. You can't change or rearrange that. Love them, but sometimes from a distance. Sometimes from a distance. Because people will use your love as a weapon against you. People will use your good heart as a weapon against you. And to this day, my daughters are like the only people the only people on earth, my three little girls, they the only ones that could still hurt me. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I could sit here and preach and teach and act like I'm this super duper got my emotions in check and all of that. My daughters are the only ones, and boy do they know it, man. I'll be cool, I'll be all right. And that we be in our little sparring partners, and they say one little thing, and whoop, I'll be a little baby again. I gotta crawl off into my corner, get to praying and meditating. Get to praying and meditating, y'all. You know what I'm saying? For real. And it's because I learned this a long time ago, not with them, but with other people. And what it is because, like I said, I was in the streets. I was a violent person at one time, and I didn't know how to argue. I didn't know how to argue. I think I only started arguing when I became spiritual. Before that, I only knew how to attack. And I didn't never argue with people that I love because we never really had arguments, if you get what I'm saying. Most of the times I just let people have their way if I love you. Now, once I had my spiritual awakening, I was married, and my wife is one of the first people that I would argue with because I can't beat you up, and I'm not gonna leave, even though I probably should. So I sit here and I argue. So the women in my life and my children are the only people that I argue with. Um, so yeah, they the only ones, and I'll sit there and I'll go back and forth with them, and then I'll catch myself, and I told y'all this, that I do it all the time. Sometimes you gotta when, the Holy Spirit will take over, and I step outside of my own body, and I watch my daughters argue with the physical me, and I'll sit there, and I'll have to no matter what they say, I detach myself from the conversation as I'm praying and meditating, and I understand that she's hurt. I understand that she's hurt. You know what I'm saying? I understand the role that I played. I watch my words. I really think about everything that I'm gonna say before I say it because she's like me. And I held on to the littlest things people said to me. I ain't never forgot acts, none of that. So I'm forced now to be consciously aware of what I say in my response and my reactions. But I have to disattach myself because, like me, My youngest daughter, we don't go through it. My 15-year-old, she's 15. So you know how these 15-year-olds is. They look up from their phone, give you an answer, and go back into it. You call, you're disturbing them from whatever it is they doing. They in their tablet, they in their own little metaverse. So not my 15-year-old, but my two oldest ones, man, they just like me. And what I mean by that is I was an arguer, I was a one-line killer. I could say one or two things to crush a person's spirit. I knew what to say. I didn't have to say a lot. I was always like that. I was always like that. A girl could yap, 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 and say the worstest things to me. And I'll say one thing and she fall out all over the floor crying. How could you say that? That was me. My daughters have that. And they girls. So you already know. You already know. And they women. And they highly intelligent. My daughters, woo, I'm in for it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I be consciously aware because they can still hurt me. They can still hurt me. Their opinions matter to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? And I know the role that I play in their hurt or whatever they have to say. And I don't regret going to prison. I don't. I had to. The reason why I don't regret, I had to go. I had to grow. I had to learn. I had to be separated from society. I had to be. I'm being honest. I wouldn't have been able to, I wouldn't be alive and functioning out here if I wasn't taken out of society so much. I know it sounds crazy, but I had a big, bright spirit. And because I had a big, bright spirit, my demons was a little bigger than other people's. If y'all know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? It ain't a sin that I didn't commit or would have commit. So I had to be removed from society. All 6 times I was removed from society for a lengthy amount of time, right? So I can't necessarily say I regret it because I had to go through it. But the fact that I wasn't there for my daughters is a big one. You know what I'm saying? That's a big one. It ain't me being free and me missing out on my own life and being free. It's me missing out on their life. That's the only thing that kind of like, you know what I'm saying? So when they play on that, it's a big one. So I have to be consciously aware that that's why I'm going through what I'm going through. And I know how they feel. And regardless of what they say, they know that I feel the way I feel. They know that. I don't never worry about that. Never. Because my daughter, my oldest daughter, as much as I wasn't in her life and as much as all her family members spoiled her, I started that trend of spoiling her. And I think she knows that, right? But no matter how much I was in prison and not in my oldest daughter's life, she said something to me years ago when I was in prison, maybe like my third or fourth time in prison. And she said that her professor or somebody said that she had a big heart. And she said, yeah, I get that from my dad. I don't know how she knew. You know what I mean? And I'm the rottenest person on the face of the earth to her family. And her I ain't gonna attack certain people. But despite everything that people have said about me and me being absentee in her life, for her to say that she got her big heart from me, you know what else she got from me? Her spiritual eye. She knows who I am. They know who I am. And when people know who you are, they can hurt you because they know who you are and they know that they could affect you. They know that, you regret not being there. They know what your purpose was and what you was trying to do. I know my daughters know that. They all know that. You know what I'm saying? So, my brother's watching me on live right now. I told you they'd be watching. There's only 30 people in here, but I know every time I'm on live, I'll tell y'all this. 25% of whatever my live is somebody I know. So 25% of 30 is what? Half of 30 is 15, half of 15 is 750. So seven and a half people in here is somebody that I actually know out of the 33 people in here. It's always like that. If it's 100 people in here, trust and believe. If there's 100 people in here, I know 30 of them know me. They ain't gonna tell me they in here, but they in here. You know what I'm saying? And I love it though. it's because I have something to give now other than some money, or you know what I'm saying, some forced dreams and hopes, because that's all I was selling was dreams, hopes, and a couple of dollars. That's all I came with, y'all. Dreams, hopes, and a couple of dollars. You know what I'm saying? So I love this. I love what I'm able to do, man. And I love that my family and friends, they be watching, because now I have something to give. You know what I mean? Before I didn't have nothing to give. I don't give a damn how much money you buy, how many Michael Jordans, how many hairs you get done, how many leather jackets, bicycles, all that shit. Now I have love and wisdom, and reminding, people of who we are and what we're here for. You know what I'm saying? And I love it. And I appreciate y'all for being here and giving me, because if I only had two, three people on here every time I came on here, I probably wouldn't have been on here. I'd be like, man, listen, ain't nobody got here. I see people do it all the time. They be on live with like two, three people, and then you check back in and they still on live and it only be five people. It's not a pride thing, y'all. I promise you it's not a pride thing. I would just feel like there was the universe or somebody telling me, man, ain't nobody hearing what you got to say. Go back to your books, go back to your prayers and your meditations. You ain't ready. I seen pastors say that too. Like, everybody want the microphone. I love when pastors, y'all ever been to church and the pastor always, he throwing shots at the deacons because they think they could preach, and he up there, he say, listen, you ain't ready for this microphone. Everybody want a microphone, but everybody's not ready for a microphone, right? I love when preachers do that. You know what I mean? Because that's their way of saying, listen, you ain't got the glow. Sit back, go to school some more, study, pray, meditate, and walk in Christ before you think you're gonna get up here and grab this microphone from me, right? Church say amen. And so that's how I be. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that I consistently have 30 people or 100 people, 70 people in here every time I come on, man, I know that ain't nothing but the most high, man. You know what I'm saying? And I know that I'm walking in my purpose. So I appreciate y'all for real. All y'all, for real, for real. Carla, Marlo, Tommy, the people who come in here every time, most of the time when I'm on here, when they can, you know what I'm saying? Y'all could be Jazz, um, Stretch, Stretch from the neighborhood. Couple people from the neighborhood I ain't seen that used to come on all the time, but I don't know. I ain't talking about the destruction no more. So I guess I lost a lot of people. Big ups to you, because what you do sure isn't easy. That's true. That is true. That is true. It's a lot harder than I thought, but it's a lot easier than I thought, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, sometimes, man, when I get to going, when I ain't paying attention to the chat and I'm just going, man, I swear that ain't nothing but the Holy Spirit. That ain't nothing but my ancestors smiling down on me and talking through me to talk to y'all. And I'm talking to myself, because I'm you and you me, man. We the same. We from the same spirit, y'all. I swear, I know we from the same spirit. Just like when I be on TikTok or on here, and there be brothers talking, everything they saying is what I'm going through. I feel everything they saying. I resonate with everything they say. I've been through what they say they've been through, and it's like, okay, my brother just reminded me this is just the universe. You know what I'm saying? That's why I love being on here, because I know for a fact, 1,000% sure, that I'm saying something that need to be heard. I'm reminding you of something, or I'm keeping you on point about something, or I might bring up something that's on your spirit or on your heart at that particular time. That's how it works. That's what the universe does, man. For real, for real. And I'm just fortunate enough and blessed that I've always had a keen eye for that type of stuff. The universe always speaks to me. I ain't no psychic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we all have the ability to be psychic. Women are better at it than men. But I get mines. I have to pay attention to get mines. The universe will tell me some shit all the time, but I have to pay attention. I swear, I miss it all the time. Sometimes I miss something and then I double back and be like, oh, that's what it, and then I get it. You know what I'm saying? So I love to be this for others. My lives always inspire you in a positive way. Oh, thank you so much, Marlo. I appreciate you. You inspire me in a positive way every time I see you on here. For real. Both of y'all. Look, back to back. I love y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. For real. Every time I see y'all on here, y'all don't even know I smile, because I like new people when new people come too. You know what I'm saying? But when I see people that continuously here with me, and sometimes I be thinking I be talking in circles, or I'm saying the same stuff over and over and over again. And the way I know that I'm even if I am, It's informative, or it's feeding your spirit. Because when y'all come back, and it's y'all that come back all the time, that makes me feel good. That I know that I'm definitely walking in my purpose for real. And because sometimes the devil come in, you know what I mean? Trust me, it's 37 people in here. There's a couple people in here from the neighborhood. There's people in here who dislike me. There's people who, I don't care how much I'm talking with y'all, I'm sharing with y'all because y'all my new family, right? There's people in here from my past that's looking like, look at this nigga. They call me Bucks. Look at this nigga Bucks. This nigga think he's slick. He up here getting money. He tricking the people. He ain't no good. He back to his old ways, whatever they say. So they don't want me to do good. They may got to go to their little witch doctor, put their little stuff together and all of that. But because I stay prayed up, the only thing that may happen is my own self, it'll be a tinge of doubt. It ain't the big stuff that they praying on and wishing on. That stuff don't happen. But what happens is a little tinge of doubt come through, just a little bit, or a little bit of fear, and they'd be like, "Man, you getting back up there," and you know, I might go a day or two, and I get back into my prayers and my meditations and doing the stuff that I got to do, or I can't find my mic wire, or I can't find my iPod stand, or lost my other stand, or whatever the case may be, and I just push through. I just push through, and when I jump on here, y'all here, it's just a reminder, like, this is where you're supposed to be. This is what you're supposed to be doing. Keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. That's it. That's all. One day, Hell Rell gonna pop up in here, y'all. Jim Jones, one of they. I'm telling you, one day one of them gonna come up in. Up in. No, I'm not gonna say one day. They already in here. I'm saying they're gonna make themselves known that they're here. Let me rephrase that, because I know for a fact they. You, I think for 1 second, ain't none of them rappers or famous people been in this live. Come on now, they been in here. They know what I got going on, and I enjoy listening to you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And Cream, you've been up here. You've been up here consistently the last three days, I think, and 4 days. You probably was on here before, but just not actually interacting. But I appreciate you too. Thank you. You rocked out with me yesterday. I love y'all. I love y'all. Y'all inspire me too. Y'all give me topics. Y'all say the right stuff to keep the conversation flowing. There ain't been that many trolls. That's how I know God is with us. Do y'all remember? Well, I know Carla and Marlo remember. In the beginning, do you remember how many trolls used to be in here? Oh my goodness. It don't even be that many trolls no more. Quite honestly, like I might get one troll. Some days I don't even have no trolls. Today I had one for like half a second. But do y'all remember in the beginning? Oh my God, half of the chat, half the chat was trolls. And they used to say some of the horrible thing and they throw me right off. I'll be flowing and then somebody says I think it's important because it'd be a lot of stuff. And then I go look and they was trolling. We don't even get that no more. We don't even get that no more. That's how I know, you know what I'm saying? And y'all should know that we are highly blessed, highly favored, and protected. For real, for real. For real, for real. We don't even get them no more. And I'm grateful. I'd rather the chat stay between 30 and 40 people than it to get how I used to get. It used to be 150, 200 people in here, and it'd be 60, 70 trolls. And a lot of my enemies, they probably gave up. They was like, man, this nigga done changed. I ain't got to worry about him in the streets no more. The smart ones. And they just gave up and just, I ain't gonna keep watching him. Let him do what he doing. You know what I'm saying? But there's some. Oh my God, there's some. The ones that are filled with all them spirits, they just watching every day, hoping they could get my address or drop some little thing so they could go report. They got their big homie, he got life sentence, and he got all his little minions, and they like, oh, catch bucks slipping. And they still watching. I'm telling you, they still watching. But that's okay. Because some of them are actually changing within themselves. Some of them are sitting there and they like, why am I here? Why am I still doing what I need to do? He's right. I feel the same way. You know what I'm saying? I want to get out the gang myself. I want to get out of the gang. Who do I speak to? What do I do? How do I do it? Like I told y'all, the brother Tyrone Howard. Remember the Tyrone Howard, the brother that unalived the cop? My son Nut, when I was on Rikers Island with him, and he came to me and he asked me, he said, man, I want to get out the gang. This is before I did any of the shit with the government. I did nothing wrong as far as the gang was concerned. I just stopped. And that brother, man, he used to sit with me every day and ask me, and he told me, yo, I want to get out the game, man. How do I do it? Like I respect you for doing it, but how? And I was telling him he had a good girl, man. I said, you got to get home to that girl. You know what I mean? He had been in jail more than me, and I think I had him by like 3 years. I might have been like 3 or 4 years older than him, and he had more jail time at that time than me. And I never met people my age that had more jail time than me. Never mind somebody younger than me. And that brother sat down and he asked me how to get out the gang, and he didn't get out the gang. And he had went to the box for cutting somebody. I went on about my way. I got out of prison in 2015, and 2015, the same day I'm in Midtown Manhattan working my messenger job, he was in Manhattan on the West Side, and he unalived the police officer, man. He unalived the police officer. 30 loyal better than 200 backstabbers. That's right. Like they say, it ain't many of us, but it's plenty of us. We all we got, but guess what? We all we need. We don't need no more. That's all right. But yeah, so that's why I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Because that brother, man, Tyrone Howard, AKA Nut, man, that brother wanted out the gang, man. And he asked me how, and I was too spiritual with him. You know what I'm saying? I didn't give him the physical things and the street things, and I regret doing that. You know, I was praying, I was meditating, and I was talking over his head. He couldn't hear me. What the things I was saying was too esoteric. You know what I'm saying? I should have kept it surface level and physical and told him straight up. Well, I did. I told him don't when he get out the shoe, just stay in the shoe. Tell the brothers he don't want to be in the gang no more and fight his case from the box. And then when he get out, handle it in the streets because I didn't want him to have to do nothing, you know, no gangster stuff to renounce the gang. Cause he would have. That's what he would have did. They call it shooting your way out. That's what they call it. When they say you want to get out of a hood, it's so stupid, y'all. They say when you want to get out of a hood, a particular gang, and get in another gang, they say I shot my way out, meaning you cut, stab, or literally shoot your way out the gang. You just do violence until they let you go, right? That's the honorable way of leaving in their world. And he was saying something to that effect, and I was like, well, listen, he was about to go to the box because on Rikers Island, if you cut somebody or stab somebody, sometimes you don't go right to the box. You're waiting to get your box time. It's the stupidest thing in the world. So he was waiting to get his box time. And I just told him, I said, yo, bro, listen, when you go to the box, just don't come out. Stay in the box. And then from the box, tell all the other gang members that you're tired. You notice your last time you're gonna cut somebody for the game, that you're tired. You got a woman you want to get home to and your family. You got over 12 years in the pen in jail. You ain't even 30 yet and you're tired. And I remember he said something like he couldn't, he didn't want to, like it's called PC. Like if you refuse to go to population, that means you're scared to go to population. So he was like, oh, I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. And while he talking to me, he's looking around and nervous, you know. And yeah, man, it's crazy. That day, I think I told that story on here already, but it was crazy. Everything happened in threes. I saw three people. I was in prison that day. I didn't see him, but I seen two other people, and he was the third person. And I was telling myself that if I see three people that I was in prison with, that I wasn't gonna go to Pennsylvania where I caught my federal indictment. Everything was already set up for me to go to Pennsylvania, and I saw two people that I was in prison with in that same day. And I said to myself, because remember I told y'all the universe speaks to me, I have to pay attention. I'm not psychic, but I have to pay attention. And when I pay attention to numbers and signs and symbols, I'm always told something. So that's what happened in 2015. I was home and I was working that job 3 months and I saw two people from prison that and the whole time I'm running around Manhattan for them 3 months, I never saw nobody I was locked up with in Manhattan. And that day I saw two people and my brain, I pay attention. My brain clicked. I said, pay attention. If you see another person, that's going to be three people. If you see three people, that means you shouldn't take your ass to Pennsylvania. You should just, you know what I mean? And I went all the way home that day. The West Side Highway was was locked up the whole day. They kept saying a cop had got on the West Side Highway. And I went home, and when I got back to the Bronx, I'm walking in the hallway. My aunt had her door open. She keeps her door open. Her door was wide open. And as I'm walking in, she got one of them big TVs that got a back. It wasn't even a flat screen at the time. She ended up getting a flat screen. But at this time, she had one of them big old TVs. And as I'm walking in, who I see? Tyrone Howard, aka Nut, the Blazer. Sex, Money, and Murder. That was the gang he was down with. He was Sex, Money, Murder. And I see his face. And I'm like, Auntie, what? She said, that's the boy that shot that unalived the cop on the West Side Highway. He was the third person that I saw that I was in prison with. On that one bid, not that one Rikers Island bid that I tell y'all about. He was the third person. Right then and there, I wasn't supposed to go to Pennsylvania. I knew my fate. I knew it. I'll tell y'all about me in threes and stuff like that. I read about threes in the Bible. That's why Christ, everything is in three, right? And I don't know if it's because I started paying attention to it, it started happening, or that's just the way things is. I don't know. I don't try to like act like I know something and stand on that. Like, yo, this is why this is happening. I never do that. I never do that because years later when it's revealed to you what it's supposed to mean, you might get a total different meaning. So people get on these channels and stuff and they think they know something and they want to be adamant about this is what it is and that is what it is. I never do that because sometimes the universe will show you what it really is and you might be thinking what it is, but you don't really know what it is until you know. So I don't know if this street thing is because I started paying attention to it or what. Only thing I know is it kept happening to me. And then when I went back to prison and read the Bible for the 100th time, I started seeing threes all over again. And then I started learning the numerology significance of three. And then I started learning the spiritualness of three, right? And that's how I get my stuff. So when I seen the two people, I'm already looking for the third. You know what I'm saying? I'm already looking for the third person. I'm like, well, if I see three people that I was in prison with, that means something. Just like I'll see three people from my neighborhood somewhere where I don't see them, and then something, or I'll see somebody that I always see. Let's say it's a wino, right? And my whole life, I never seen him off the corner or in front of the liquor store or in the vicinity of the block. But if I see that wino three places in a matter of a week, outside of where I'm accustomed to seeing him, something significant to happen with that person. That's it's been like that my whole life. And once I realized it and started paying attention to it, it don't fail me. It don't fail me, y'all. And it's been happening my whole life. But once I started paying attention to it, like I see two, once I see the two, I start paying attention for the three, and then trying to figure out what is being said, what the universe is trying to tell me. Why did you think people don't mind killing others? It's crazy to me. I'm gonna go outside of the demonology part, right? Because you know I blame them for everything. But outside of that, right? Let's say a person don't have a spiritual attachment or they're not possessed or whatever. One of the reasons is in the streets, I'm gonna say. Let me just give you an example of my field, because the killers that I know are street niggas. I don't know. I've met serial killers. I've met people who unalive children and women in prison, but I don't have I ain't been around them enough to have a general consensus. So I could tell you about the street nigga, right? What happens with the street nigga is why they don't mind unaliving people is because one, they become desensitized. When money becomes your god, that's why I say you can't serve two gods. Um, Money, which is mammon and the creator, is because when money becomes your god, you'll do anything for money. And you could justify almost anything for a dollar. You know what I'm saying? So when a person is faced with despair and the only resolve you have, or the only, you know, comfort or resolve you have is money, then a person will do anything for some money, man. And it becomes repetitive. And when you repetitively rob or harm people for $1, then it becomes, it's sad to say, Lord forgive me, it becomes second nature. You become desensitized. So that's why people could do it without, feeling for another human being, because once it happens, you're stuck in that frame, and it becomes you, and it becomes habitual like anything. As sickening as it is and as horrible as it is, it becomes that way. And woe to those who experience, death and, unalivement from a young age, like I did, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people that I grew up around. You become numb to it. You become numb to it. And now let me get spiritual, because I can't talk about it without being spiritual, right? Because this is just what I know to believe is truth. Now, psychologically, you become numb to it, but I believe that as a child, as a young person, when you grew up in an abusive home, I'm gonna give you an example. And that person who I'm talking about, the killers, I ain't talking about somebody who unalived one person out of desperation or despair or fear, right? I'm talking about the people who do it religiously. What happens with those individuals is, let's say for instance in a home, his mother's constantly getting beat by the father, right? And this happens day in, day night, day in and day night. I don't know if y'all ever experienced that, because I experienced my mother getting beat, by her pimps and the drug dealers or whoever she was calling her boyfriend for that night. I remember my mother getting beat a lot. And after a while, this is what I believe, this is what happens. Psychologically, they got all of these Siegfried Freud, Carl Jung, and all these Hippocrates, all of these masterminds who understand the human mind and psychology. When you read and study psychology, they're going to give you a psychosis for this, right? They're going to say, this is what happens. This is how a person becomes a sadist or a sociopath or a psychopath, right? But I'm going to tell you this spiritually, because this is what happens. Forget what the books say, right? What happens is, when that child, when I used to hear my mom getting beat on, I don't know if y'all experienced this or anything similar to it. This is why it's imperative that you don't argue. And I've done it, argued in the home and got children in the other room where they can hear the arguing. God forbid some furniture get to moving. Those of you who know that and experience that, y'all know what I'm talking about. Do you know it's a feeling? It's the biggest fear a child can have, is when your mother is in another room and someone's beating on her or arguing with her, and you're a child. It's frightening. So when this thing happens repetitively, the psychologists and psychiatrists are going to give you a psychosis and tell you what's going on mentally, which is physically, right? But I don't believe that shit. What happens spiritually is that pain you feel, that fear that overcomes you, it's like out of body. Y'all know what I'm talking about, those who've experienced it. That fear that emanates from that child. That's why Christ say, least touch one of these, you rather tie a rope around your neck and jump in the water, jump in the ocean and drown yourself, right? Because Christ understood and knew that children are big spirits stuck in a little body. They're innocent. So they experience fear twice as much as an adult. So that fear that emanates from that child's being, that emanates out of his auric field, it's a beacon. And that beacon attracts demons. It attracts spirits. I promise you it does. Just the same way as a cow will poop on the ground, and the flies and the horse flies, and they come to that shit. It's the same way with spirits. The same way you leave a piece of meat right there, and the maggots are forming, and the flies will come swarming it. The same way a caucus, a drop on a Serengeti, a gazelle, a drop on a Serengeti, and then the vultures circle and they get onto that meat. It's the same thing. There are entities and energies that are just like vultures, that are just like parasites, that are just like fleas and flies, and those who connect itself to another living entity to feed. They are spiritual parasites. And that's what attaches itself to that child. Now, two things that happen. Sometimes, and this is my belief, I didn't read this one nowhere. I read the demonic part, but there's always a positive and negative. There's an up and a down. If there's a good that could happen, there's a bad that could happen. So I haven't read about the good, but this is what I believe. When that fear becomes a beacon and those entities come in, they attach itself to that child. And that's what gets the child through. That's what creates what we call a psychopath or sociopath, right? When they become numb to the pain. So from that child blocking out its mother getting beat to where it becomes normal, to where it doesn't bother the child no more, what happens is an entity that came to feed off of it lives in that child or lives connected to that child. So now, because it is there, it's absorbing the fear to where the child doesn't have the opportunity to feel the fear. It's sucking it. Yeah, I get what I'm saying? It's sucking the fear, it's absorbing the fear before the child gets to experience it. So now, because the entity, this 1,000-year-old, 5,000, 10,000-year-old entity is in control, this child no longer jumps when it hears the thump in the other room. When that child becomes an adult, that child becomes what they call a sociopath. Now that child doesn't feel, it doesn't have empathy. So now that child is able to, and this is just Google it. Just Google, go watch. Not only if you're not spiritually inclined, I'll ask to pray and ask for a force field shield of protection before you invite certain things into your home through your TV screen. But if you go watch the Jeffrey Dahmers or the Richard Ramirez's, and when I was a disseminator of death, I used to watch these guys. That's all I used to love to watch. John Wayne Gacy, name them. Charles Manson, just name them. Go watch them. They're all gonna have the same thing in common, y'all. And this ain't just coincidence. They're all gonna have the same thing in common. And you know what they're gonna have in common? When they was a child in their home, there was abuse, whether their mom was getting beat or the dad was beating on the child or the mom was beating on the child or the child was being molested or whatever, the sister or whatever. They all have that in common. When you watch CSI, when you watch Forensic Files, I used to be addicted to crime and these type of things because I had a spirit on me because I was the child in the other room, right? Even the child being physically and sexually abused along with my mother getting beat, right? So I was that child. So when you watch these shows and you see the criminal investigator come in and let's just say you're watching CSI and there's a woman, I get this example all the time, and there's a woman with her head, severed. And the head that's severed is laying on the bed with a panties stuffed in its mouth or roses stuffed inside the severed head, right? The CSI criminal investigator, she comes in there, the chief psychologist, she gets the most money. She comes in there, she says, okay, we have a woman in her 30s, she's decapitated, she's sexually assaulted, boom, 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 boom. She don't have to check, she knows she was sexually assaulted. And she goes, all right, our perp here, right, is 34 years old, he's a loner, and the first thing she gonna say is what happened in his home. She's taught through her studies of the human mind that in order for somebody to be able to do this, this person has to be a psycho or a social, right? And being a psycho or social means you have lack of empathy and feeling because there's no way you could have did this and have feeling. And the only way you can have come to the point where you're able to do this to another human being is you had to experience the most traumatic things as a child. This is in it, this is what they teach in their schools. And they're right. The only thing they're wrong about is it's not in the mind, it's spirit. The reason why they're the only thing they can't do is heal the person. That's the difference between me and them. And I'm not being bragged or boastful about it, but when we learn to work love and light and we learn how to use Christ's energy and love, light, healing energy, we can tell that spirit to be gone. And that child or that person can be healed of the spirit because it is the spirit that is attaching itself to that human being. I don't care what nobody say. That's what's going on down here. That's the biggest secret that they keep. And as I say all the time, I'm going to say it again. And it's because in the 5th century, Hippocrates, hypocrite, the guy that they take their oath, the doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, and doctors, they take the Hippocratic oath is because it's named after the guy Hypocrite. And Hypocrite is the guy who was a Greek who went to Egypt and he studied in the mystery schools. And he's the one, when you read about him, it's going to say he took superstition out of medicine and he became the father of medicine, modern medicine. And what we call superstition is a human being saying that a spirit made them do it. He deemed it a superstition because he was a Roman and he wasn't from Africa, so he didn't understand spirituality. You understand? When we know that everything from Greece was taken from Egypt, even the pantheon with Zeus and Hagar, that's all stole from Egyptian. The math from Pythagoras, uh, Galileo, Socrates, all of them study under Imhotep and people like Aesop and Imhotep. They studied under these brothers in Egypt. And or Kemet is the real term because even the name Egypt is from the Greeks. We call it Egypt because the Greeks called it Egypt, but the real name is Kemet, which means black. Chemical, chemical is Kemet. That's what Africa is, the land of black soil. That's what Egypt is, the land of black soil. But we use the term Egypt from the Greeks. Most of the stuff we got in our studies, mathematics and the constellations, all comes from the Greeks. But it don't come from the Greeks, it comes from Kemet or Egypt. So this Greek took the Egyptian knowledge and he separated spirituality and physicality. Before him, you went to one doctor if you had a mental health ailment or a physical ailment, because in those days they understood that every attack was a spiritual one. Whether you had a head cold or you was walking around talking to yourself, there was an invisible energy or entity that attached itself to you and made you that way. That's what a virus is. It's a living organism that we can't see that's went inside a human's body and gave him corona. That's what the flu is. That's what cancer actually is. It's an organism that backs up your body and causes your cells to die and cause a cancer. It's a blockage, right? So before this Greek went to Egypt, if you was physically ill in any way, you went to one doctor. They just put the term witch in front of the doctor and made that doctor seem like it was taboo, because if you go to a witch doctor, then that means he's going to do a spell on you. But before they separated the two, and then the church came and put all these titles on these things, now you get sick, you're just sick. You go to a doctor and he's gonna give you some pills. He can't take the spirit of cancer out of you. He can't tell the spirit of corona or the virus to leave you, because the virus is a conscious entity. And if you're praying and meditating and vibrating, it won't even allow it to attack you, because your immune system becomes weak when you're spiritually weak. And your immune system is your little spirits within yourself that fights off any invading spirit. So if you're in lack in spirit and you're not vibrating high, then you have no defense against these things. And then a pill, a drug, Google where the word drug come from. A drug can't take away a drug because you're using a little spirit to fight off a bigger spirit. So nobody gets healed. You just get treated. You're not going to never be healed. You can only heal yourself. And we can't heal ourselves if we don't understand where the attack or the enemy is coming from. Keep God first. That's right. That can totally count on, not a human being. But you are God, and God is within you. And you are a human being as you are the all in all, because you have a divine spark. You have a divine spark. You know what I'm saying? You have a divine spark. The kingdom of heaven is within. The most high is within. You are the most high, and you are the God and the solar sun of your own universe. The same, this is what you are, and that ain't even half of what you are. This is a 2D printout. If this was in 3D, oh man, that star tetrahedron would look so great. And these orbs of light around every point, your 5 points of light, you are God. You are the universe. You're your own personal little universe. And you are in control of what happens in your own little universe. You know, they took a lot of that from us. And a lot of these forced teachings, and they do it for a purpose. They do it for a reason, right? Because If we don't understand that we're under a spiritual attack, if we don't understand, you know, that there's entities and energies that we don't see that manipulate time, space, and matter. If we don't know that, then we're just existing. We're fooled. And we're gonna constantly go to someone else or something outside of ourselves to heal what we got going on within. Whether it's a mental health, it's your throat, your knee, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your finances, your car, your children, your home. You understand what I'm saying? You always going outside of yourself. You're constantly a human being is a source of as a constant system of outsourcing. You know what an outsource is? Outsources is when a business uses another business to help its business. We're constantly outsourcing. We go to something else for everything we need. We go without ourselves for everything we need. We need an air conditioner to feel cold. We need forced heat to feel warm. We need somebody to make us happy. We need somebody to make us sad. We sometimes we don't even need nobody to make us we don't become so that's the only time we don't outsource. We don't need nobody else to make us sad. We could become sad on our own. You know what I'm saying? And we constantly looking outside of ourselves for when we got everything we need right here. You came with everything you need. You ain't come with no everything but an instruction manual. You came with everything you need but an instruction manual. You got the tools, you got the blueprint in yourself. Because what we do is we want to give somebody else the blueprint and the tools and say, here, fix me. Just like you said, how you gonna depend on another human being to do anything for you? A human will always let you. My grandmother told, oh man, I don't always bring this lady up, man, but this lady was so pivotal and so powerful, man. You know what I'm saying? But my grandmother used to tell me all the time, man, I got into a fight. My boys ran on me, and I ended up fighting like 3, 4 dudes. She came down the block and pulled me off of the last dude. And I was in the house and I went in the room and I was crying. She came back in and she, boy, what the hell are you crying for? And I was like, my friend, I couldn't even get it out. My friend, she said, boy, if you allow what another person did do or don't do for you affect you, then you setting yourself up for a life of heartache and pain. You setting yourself up for a life of I say it all the time, disappointment. Yeah, I probably was about I don't even think I was 12 yet. I probably was about 10, 8, 9, or 10, one of them ages. And I'm in there crying because my friends left me. She came back in like basically like, "What you crying for? I saw you whooped the kid. What the hell you in here crying for?" I said, "Cause my friend." She said, "Boy, if you allow what another person do or don't do for you affect how you feel, then you setting yourself up for a life of disappointment." And she used to tell me all the time, "They not you. Don't expect them to be you. Don't expect them to do what you do. They not you." And it took me a long time, but after a while, I started realizing, man, you can't this is outside of the healing and looking for people to help you and heal you. This is I kind of stayed off track and got off track. But don't ever don't feel so hurt when people do what humans do. A human is gonna be a human and humans gonna fuck up. They're gonna put themselves first, they're gonna mess up, they're gonna lie, they're gonna make a mistake. They're humans. That's why when somebody put in the chat, was it Vanilla? I don't know who put it in the chat where they said love is the highest form of understanding or overstanding, understanding, whichever one you want to use. Everybody use all these words semantics. I like understanding. It's solid. But that's what we do down here. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna always be disappointed. If you're waiting for another human being to do something, you're gonna always be disappointed. They always gonna show you, opposite of what you believed or thought was possible. That's who we are, but you love them. You got to see him as a baby. Like I said, y'all, you playing with the baby and you turn your head and the baby hits you in the eye, no matter how mad you get, you ain't gonna hit the baby because you know that it's a baby. And then you say to yourself, I supposed to kept my eye on him. I'm busy playing with this child. I looked away and bust me in the eye with the remote control. You got to do that with human beings because one, they're human. And as long as they're human and they're down here on this third dimension, if you have any belief or anything in your spirit that makes you say that brother Soel is right. Like we are constantly under spiritual attack, right? If you have any micro belief in that, then you must know that sometimes they're gonna get the best of the human being and cause the human being to do some shit. It just happens. And when you become consciously aware of it and you love the person through it and you see what's going on spiritually behind the scenes, 9 times out of 10, that person gonna come to you and they're gonna apologize. The minute you remain human and you look at it physically and you deal with it physically instead of spiritually, the person is never gonna reveal or say that they apologize. They're not gonna force that person to the real person to speak. The entity is going to remain in control because what you're doing is the entity made the person steal out your wallet or tell you you are no good father because it knew it would hurt you. So when you respond and hurt back and fight back, now the entity is dead and it's feeding. And what happens is you're trading a human that's not really in control, even when the entity or the human's trying to be his human self, right? The human is gonna remember you said, "Well, I didn't want you anyway." Or they said you were a bad dad, so then you go, "Well, I told your mother not to have you anyway," right? So now the human remembers that. So now even when the entity is not so in control, the human remembers what you said. But if you go to handle it spiritually and you know your child, your mother, your father, your boss, you know what I'm saying? Your coworker does some bullshit, and you sit there and you love him and you say, Man, look at the devil. And you keep on and you praying or you meditating or you say these mantras. Man, when you use Jesus' name in the mantra, I don't care what they say about the white, blonde hair, blue-eyed Jesus, and we ain't this and that. I'm telling you what works for me, right? When you get to saying that name, Christ, and you just get to saying them Christ-like mantras, them loving like Christ mantras over and over and over and over again, and you don't fight back, no matter how harsh what they said was, no matter how much you love that phone she just slammed on the ground and told you she didn't want, or the soul food your daughter just threw out. My daughter threw out a whole plate of soul food because I got her order wrong. Y'all know how much plates of soul food cost, right? I swear, I spent my last little dollars, and this girl said she threw out the soul food because I ordered the wrong thing. She threw the whole plate out, y'all. No matter how you just sit there and you just keep doing your mantra, keep saying your thing, you keep spreading love and light, and you realize that that's a human baby doing what a baby does, right? That person will come back. That person gonna apologize. That person, it may not be that day, it may not be tomorrow, it may not even be in the form of a real apology, right? They might buy you soul food one day. You know what I'm saying? And you must know that that's okay. That's the universe showing me that I did right. There you son, you did right, grasshopper, right? That's all that means. That's all it means. And sometimes you got to see the baby. You have to see the baby. You have to see them because they're a baby. They're a child. They down here fighting like you fighting. They just don't know it. And when you know, then you are twice more responsible because you know. It says I gotta find that scripture. I gotta memorize that one because it says it in the Bible. If you know, then you're twice as guilty if you engage with the human, if you engage with the baby. If you pop that baby because that baby hit you in the eye, you dead wrong. Because you know there's a baby, you play with the baby, you throw punches. I got nephews, I beat them all up. I tough them up. I like to hit on them. So if I'm looking the wrong way and he punched me in the eye, I know what I did. I know that when I'm gonna go hit him back with all my might because he just hit me in my eye. They need you. Man, hey Jazz, I heard that so many times, man. You don't even know how I've been ducking them. You don't know how many of my African friends, my Haitian friends, my homeboy Banger, they all be like, yo, you know, I just don't. I make a good one. I just don't understand it, right? I mean, I do understand it, but I say on here all the time, the reason why I don't is because I know in Ifa and a lot of the Yoruba teachings and voodoo and all of those teachings, when you have to venerate something, and it needs a cigarette, it needs an egg, it needs a money, it needs for you to do this. Those things you have to do at those altars. What you learn in spirituality is the closer the deity is to a human, the more human like that deity is gonna respond. And Ifa and all of those things, and they've been calling me for a long time. I'm not gonna lie. Since I was a kid, I was allowed to play with a Puerto Rican family. I was the only nigga they allowed in their house, and they was heavy into it, and they just took a liking to me. But years later, fast forward, my Haitian friends, my African friends, I even had a family member bring me a black ring when I was on the run. It was like, here, wear this, and you'll never go to jail. And I just never took it. Again, my grandmother, even though she never really spoke spiritual, she only called Jesus' name when we was doing some bad shit. And she'd be like, Lord Jesus, take me away from these damn kids. Kill me dead now, Lord. Take me away from them, Jesus. So, you know what I'm saying? I say that to say, like, even though she wasn't super religious, she played her Christian music every Sunday when she made breakfast and dinner and stuff like that. But I say that to say it just didn't sit right with me, and I never accepted the ring. When my man Banger godmother told him, the one who's on the run, tell him to come see me. I need to see him. Whenever somebody had a message from me from somebody who was in Ifa, I just always ignored it because it just never was for me. And I'm not saying it's a right or a wrong thing. I just believe spiritually, some of us are not here for that. I think my soul is too old for E5, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes any sense. And I'm not disrespecting their religion or their belief. I just believe my soul is too old for that. And when you have to venerate something who has the personality of a human, then it's going to do human shit. And humans get jealous, humans get upset. And I don't want to serve something or be in a debt or have a contract with something that acts humanly, but it's not a human. I already deal with too many humans. I got people I gotta feed, I gotta, people who want a certain drink or like a certain color. I gotta remember my kids' color when I go buy them things. I don't want to have a deity that has a favorite color or a favorite food or a favorite drink, and I have to venerate it through that because the minute I don't, it's gonna act like a human. It's gonna get mad at me. It might get jealous of my newborn baby or my new girlfriend, or it might get jealous of my relationship with Yahshua, Yahweh, Jesus the Christ. It might get jealous. And then what? So I don't enter into those type of bonds and stuff like that. Plus, like I said, you know what I mean? I think my soul's a little too old for that. I kind of move mountains on my own. You understand what I'm saying? And no disrespect to them, I already had them tell me they can't fuck with me, so why would I go backwards? You understand? I had people who deal with Yoruba magic. I had Jamaicans when I was living uptown telling me, like, I can't tell the future while you're doing what you're doing. So please get out of here. We don't want you here. You know what I'm saying? On numerous occasions. It happened in prison and it happened in the streets. So if somebody who's working EFI, if their spirit is telling them they can't do what they're doing when I'm around, or to get away from me so they can have free access to the human being, then that means, I don't want to, offend nobody, but why would I do that if that makes any sense? You know what I'm saying? Me personally. And I don't have nothing against nobody who operates and vibrates with that vibration. That's for their soul. That's for them. That's what they're doing. There's no good or bad here. I'm not saying I'm doing good and doing a good thing or the right thing and they're doing a bad thing. I'm just saying it don't resonate with my soul. You know what I'm saying? I'm to the point where I could do whatever they paying that entity to do. I can do it. You can do it. Whatever they're paying an entity to do, you can do it if you pray hard enough and fast long enough and meditate long enough and believe strong enough. You can do anything that they can do. It just might not be instant gratification, if that makes any sense. Anything that's worth having, you got to work for. So if you only got to put some food down and ask something to do something and it does it instantly, what happens when you don't do it? You understand what I'm saying? And then I know if I go on a 5-day fast or a 3-day fast and get into my meditations and get into my prayers and see the car or see the house, it happens. Or see the white light and the blue light surrounding my baby mother, and she mad at me, and I'm telling her and I'm feeling her love, and I'm apologizing for things that I did in the past or things that she's still harping on, and I'm praying them spirits erase itself and move themselves from her. And then out of nowhere, somebody who hate my guts, she calls me and texts me and or sends me something, you know what I mean? I know what I can do. So I'm not gonna go to a lawyer if I know the law. If you know the law, why pay a lawyer? You understand what I'm saying? If you beat a case without a lawyer, why pay a lawyer? Why pay a lawyer when a lawyer tell you you know more than I know? So why would you ever go pay a lawyer if that makes any sense? So you saying that I don't take offense to it, but I know that's them because they've been trying to get me for a while. Yoruba magic specifically is removing witchcraft spells off individuals. Yeah, it's all kind of different, I know a lot about that, but don't believe in it. Yeah, I read up on it on different kinds. It's all the same shit though. It's all the same shit. And in the Bible, when it speaks about those Africans, because I don't believe all of us was those Africans, but in Deuteronomy, when it speaks about being kicked out of Israel or kicked out of the Holy Land and spread to all four corners of the earth, it said that those in the diaspora would be in the diaspora because they chose other gods, right? Whether you believe in the Bible or not, I'm just gonna give you a quick history lesson on how shit is real. That actually happened, right? If you look at the Africans, if you believe the story that the Jamaicans came from Africa was in slavery, the Puerto Ricans, the black ones who mixed with the Taino Indians and the Spaniards, the Cubans, the Colombians, the Haitians, the Dominicans, the African Americans, right? What do we all have in common? We have three things in common. One, we have in common that we all came from Africa, right? Supposedly. Second thing that we have in common that we came from Africa as slaves and we a mixture of the indigenous people, whether they're the Taino Indians or the Blackfoot Indians here in America, whatever, right? Or the Maroons in Africa, whatever. I mean, Jamaica, right? The third thing that we have in common, other than coming from Africa being slaves, is Yoruba, whether it's called Hoodoo, whether it's called Santeria, Brujeria, whatever, right? It's all Yoruba magic. It's the same deities and the same entities with different names, but it's the same exact practice. So if we can't trace our roots back through the color of our skin or our language, one thing that we all have in common is we all have that same form of magic from Nigeria, from the Western Hemisphere, Africa. We all have it. So knowing and understanding that, whatever happened to us was due to us practicing some shit. And I'm not saying that I don't believe that that was the big God that got mad at us for worshiping Yoruba, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that it was a big God. I believe it was an entity, though. I believe that it was a human-like entity that was once walked upon the earth. And if you study Yoruba, those gods, I'm not gonna say their names, but they were alive. None of them are not human. They all were once walking upon the earth. The biggest one, I can't remember the name, but the biggest one who's like the Zeus of them or the Ra of them, the big one, that one was never a human. But all the other nine ones, the two females and the other seven, they was once all human. You know what I'm saying? So it tells you what's going on. We was the children of an entity, whether you want Anunnaki, whatever it was, that came here and created these physical bodies, but not the one who created the actual soul or the spark that comes from the ineffable one. And it got mad because some of us started dealing with disembodied spirits of the Nephilim or the fallen ones, and it got mad. So it put a curse or however it happened. And we ended up in the diaspora, spread to all four corners of the earth in slavery. And that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It wasn't powerful enough to keep things the way it was going, and it ain't powerful enough to free the people and do anything powerful for us. The true power is the divine spark that's within us, and we are the neos. We don't need nothing. We don't need to venerate nothing to do nothing powerful now here. That is a fact. That is a fact. Even the Most High is still the Most High what? The Most High Creator. I say the Most High for lack of a better term, but I really be wanting to say the ineffable one, the all in all, the source, the divine everything. This don't got no hands, no mind, no thought. This ain't even a creator. You know why? Because everything emanates from it. To create is just to grow, to nourish and to grow. That's what create means. The all in all didn't even create. The all in all is everything in creation, and everything became self-absorbed and self-conscious and self-aware within this creation and begin to create. So when we say the most high creator, there is a most high creator, but I'm speaking about the ineffable one, the all in all, the divine spark, the thing that's in everything that is in everything that exists. You know what I'm saying? And Christ emanated from that, and Christ's father or Christ's oversoul, Christ's monad is the most high of love and light. And but this is a conscious being. It ain't the all in all, if that makes any sense. But I appreciate y'all. I love y'all and thank y'all. I gotta go get these books. Somebody's giving me a free set of encyclopedias. I'm kind of like a geek. I'm a book fanatic, and I want to have a little bookshelf behind me of my little collection. And somebody is giving me some encyclopedias for free. Had it not been for that, I probably could have sat on here for like another hour or two. But I gotta go get these free encyclopedias, y'all. I have to. I thank y'all so much, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Please vibrate high. Thank you for being here with us. Um, what's today? Nope, not today. Tomorrow. No, I'll schedule it, but I'll probably be on here Wednesday. I'm not gonna come back on tonight or tomorrow at all. But Wednesday, I'ma schedule one for tomorrow. I appreciate y'all. Duck, you been here the whole time. I appreciate Samuel, I appreciate you, beloved. I didn't even know you was in here. Tommy, Marlo, Vanilla, um, uh, Carla, all y'all. I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all. I'll be up here Wednesday. I'll set a time. I thank y'all so much. Peace, love, and light to the collective.